they are set up to actually control most of the zone. They got that
Yeah, but
3-1
here's
split, one
oh!
on the high ground. Oh, on the edge, but nades.
STE.
Oh no.
Oh, the third
Oh,
part. Oh, that's Paraboy.
Paraboy, all
Protecting their
right.
teammates from the smoke over
Heck
there.
yeah.
Order as well on the flank, just trying to keep them off for now. I mean, that nade onto one of Godlike Stalwart, that was just so crucial, I think, to stop that push. But look at Inca as well. Inca are kind of coming up from this back end and making that rotation. They hear the
Yeah.
shots, and Nova might be in a bit of trouble here with both of them
Yeah.
coming back.
Well,
Mhm.
there was definitely like
Yeah.
a lot of space between Inco and other teams that was closed last match. I mean, Inco got good placement, but they didn't do a lot in terms of. Did they do a lot of kills last match? Actually, I take
No,
that back.
Inco were very quiet. They lost too early on, and then they kind of just hid, right, for the rest of the
So
game.
they just got the placement points. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So realistically, they're trying to maybe reestablish a little bit of security there, maybe a little
4 a.m.
more.
Yeah, Sky was putting in massive work. I thought it was all for none, but the off angle from the shack, so Brew able to take out 4am there. Still a massive chance for S2G right now, right? The only team kind of still alive up here at the top, trying to fight for that second place right now. But Nova were able to get the reset. STE
Oh,
did
how?
not push over that ledge, I guess because of Paraboy's oversight. And now they're back in it.
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of bullied STE off the cliff, right? They had nowhere else to go in that zone, kind of just putting them into a corner with that rock, and Nova were able to find that reset go on into them, and I think that was a smart play to avoid Inco there as well. Vampires too, putting it down onto IHC, and IHC, as much as they had this position under control, they were falling, but look at Alex, he doesn't care. He's just going in for it, and he says, I will not fall, but finally he does, and I think IHC, this could be the end for them.
Oh,
I mean,
the drop shot. Raven Claw with the UMP going for the revive.
Oh,
this is
a
risky.
reset coming through.
Yeah, this is crazy. If IHC, this is a wasted effort on Vampire's end. Getting 3 knocks and then going for a revive when they have no health.
I mean, it's all about avoiding the risk, right? I mean, they get them. I think, actually, I like that idea.
You need to have confidence. You need to be able to feel confident in those confrontations. And those moments is like, those are the split-second moments that mean the most in events like these.
How the heck did Paraboy get across the street over here?
I know.
Like,
how
did Paraboy do to cross the road?
Yeah. I mean, there we go.
Erangel was very crucial for this play. Order and Frozen still up here, still alive. Action though, looking to clean this one up, and he does.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
I feel like Paraboy taking the heat down there, the squad mates on the high ground needed to push at the same time when they were looking at Paraboy. They couldn't allow that slight second for them to kind of turn their attention almost.
And I think for actually just Godlike Stalwart, that's how they actually got that game back for themselves and that fight back for themselves, because it looked so out for them. I thought Nova were just going to push them as soon as Stalwart were down to 1 and on the end of the cliff falling off. So for Stalwart to even get that back is just so good for them in their position. But they're not out of the woods yet, right? Because Inco still that third party has just been watching it the entire time. I think, they should be out.
Honestly, that shouldn't have been one-sided as Inco made it, though. Like, Inco had the number advantage, but STE had that height advantage, too. So that should have been kind of a little bit more of a slower pace altercation, I would think, rather than just Inco coming and dominating there. That high ground should have been in STE's favor. At least I feel that way. And Action kind of put himself out into an extra vulnerable spot, driving what he had to have known was closer towards Inco and away from his teammate.
Yeah, fair. As well here, Fireflux, I think are just going to do the same thing that I think what Inco should have done, right? In terms of pressure on that back side, and they're just kind of falling apart here. You can't move because you could see the nade as soon as he goes onto his face, and then you still got Godlike Stalwart on the back end. I mean, Stalwart, I think, will be out as well. It's just about who survives a little bit longer.
And shout out to these bottom 4 teams, actually. We got 3, there goes Action. But 3, 8, 8, and 6 kills, and most of them, I mean, only geeked down to 2. 2 of them up full squad still, so they're doing some really good work. S2G as well, still full squad, 3 kills. It's looking really good for them. But also, I'm not gonna jinx it, but for certain teams, it's looking really good.
Yeah, I think that's the scary thing about is the lower teams on the last day as well, though, is actually teams who have nothing to lose, and it's like this
Right.
with every tournament. If they are almost the scariest team rather than the teams at the top, because they just can do whatever they want, really,
Yeah.
in terms of
Right.
saying, well, I'm already the bottom, so I might as well try something, because at least that might get me a bit
Yeah.
higher.
Right. And S2G have actually had a massive advantage being in that low ground. I think we saw it a little bit yesterday. I can't really remember what match it was, but we did see a little bit of it where these teams on the high ground, rather than looking at the teams in the low ground, were just fighting each other. And teams like S2G is now, they were just laying low and sitting tight, and they were able to actually survive it. Now they're top 6, still a full squad in that same compound they have been for the last 10 minutes.
Potato
Yeah.
is
Oh,
still
that's a nice
all the way up
nade.
there, by the way.
He is.
Still all the way up there with the M4. So we'll see how that one plays out. Says they have a nice spot. I like their spot over there, kind of overlooking the vampire push if
Yeah.
they were to make the push across that
It's
screen to S2G.
yeah.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
really nice. I mean, they're gatekeeping DRS a little bit, kind of keeping them away from the rest of the game. The other 3 shooting over to Geek, I think that is over there in the center.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got a really, really nice overwatch over everything.
Yeah, I
Does
actually
that
like the...
does it
Yeah.
count as Potato Hill then?
Oh, good question. Good question. Anything's a
Giving it
potato
some
hill
new
with potato on
definition
it.
here. I mean, I guess, right? I mean, you can get a potato car, potato weapon, but definitely not a potato spray as a Hamzy.
The
Ooh.
baked potato hill. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, he baked that one to perfection.
Uh-huh.
DK, your ninja, if you can mute it.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Oops.
my
I love it though.
bad.
Oh man, I actually really like that Alter Ego haven't really started until now. I mean, okay, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
they're losing players, but I actually thought it was good they didn't make the move in terms of attacking and revealing their position until this moment, because they already had 8 eliminations. So they just had to focus on their position and use the information that they were getting, which was so much, right, on that hill. I mean, also trying to get down, though, from this hill, I think it might be a little bit too late for them, and it's just about kind of surviving for now and hoping that that zone doesn't leave them, because wherever this zone goes is going to affect one of these teams into basically being out next.
Respectfully, I'm going to disagree here. I think that their positioning might be one of the best positionings here, just because they have that high ground over almost everybody but DRS. And on top of that, as I said, this is the one map, and this is a perfect zone to exemplify it, but the one map where I think a late rotation into zone is more beneficial than detrimental here. And so while they're holding off there, all the Vampire, Geek, DRS, they're going to go after one another here. And they're gonna, AE's just gonna come in and pick off what's left.
Yeah, now that Vampire's down, I think it looks a bit better for them. I think the only real concern is as soon as they come over that initial hillside, they're gonna be very visible, which is the point at which they're vulnerable. If they get into, if they get into under the ridge there and under that hill, they have a lot of cover. And if they use these vehicles right now as they've got, then they should be okay to survive. And as you say, I think Geeky actually in DRS, Geefab, sorry, should I say, in DRS, they're going to be able to just completely distract each other and allow a Alter Ego to move in.
Oh, that's Fireflex out.
DRS are taking blue zone damage now too, so keep that in mind as they try to push their way in.
Okay, this is good. I was gonna mention this, that AE, I didn't like how they were going down the hill directly when there's that little ledge with that tree up top there that has just a little extra cover that may not be, it is actually in zone. Okay, so it is in zone. And they weren't using it. They were just going straight down the hill. I was like, no, that is a mistake because you're going to get shot from where you are down below, and they are. And yet that ridge is still free, but they have gone and taken it, so that's nice. Because DRS weren't really looking that way either. They're looking at it now, but still, that ledge offers so much cover and lots of nade opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, S2G are going to really struggle as well right now. We've only got really one building here at the front to work with. You can see they're trying to rotate, but they're just completely clumped together. And I think it's going to be so hard for them to actually exit this and fight Alter Ego. And now that Alter Ego were proactive and took those 2 positions on the hill, not just the one, S2G are just going to find it so hard to be able to find that direct focus and be able to eliminate Alter Ego quickly. Oh, but they're
Oh,
going.
The
and it's
buggy.
the push.
Yeah.
Crazy to just note the difference in confidence.
no.
for Alter Ego, how much of a difference it's making for them.
Yeah.
This is a team that's literally second from last place, dominating. Not just winning, dominating the entire playing field.
All right. I mean, they're looking like they're going to win here. It's only
Yeah.
Snipes trying to go for the revive
Yes.
right there. Here we go. Cheering on the home team.
Excellent work.
That jacket, that kimono on as well today on the they're a little jealous, but hey, they love to see the home team getting another chicken when you don't expect it. And I have to give it to them because they're holding down and they didn't want to let go of it at all. That
No.
mountaintop, that whole game. Even
Yeah.
trying to think about maybe pushing the road, but instead, I think you touched on it. They sent two back up on top of the mountain.
They did.
because it was still
They
in the
did.
zone, so they're trying to make sure to hold down that high ground. And,
Yeah.
it paid off.
They did that really, really well. Yeah, they
Yeah,
really
yeah, I
did.
I'm telling you that high ground come in game, it sometimes is even more crucial than the zone placement. Like it really is on a Miramar specific basis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so true.
Yeah, I was
And-
really
and-
worried. Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
talking
No, go
about
ahead.
this yesterday, Wolf, about, you know, Alter Ego. I think they could be experiencing a little bit of pressure being the home team, you know,
Yeah.
knowing that the audience is there, you know, and they are kind of part of the attraction. So,
Yeah.
yeah, big ups to them for managing to kind of cope with that pressure
Yeah.
and still
Yeah.
rise to the occasion. I mean, they got that beautiful performance yesterday. They doubled down again today. So, yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, it
actually,
really is.
If we were to look at it like, the damage done to damage taken ratio versus, what we saw last match, teams dealing out 10 times more damage than they took. This is a much more realistic dub here. Like, this is, the figures here definitely line up, to be a bit more believable, I should say, and so AE did it, but they did it with more so with tactics and placement,
Yeah.
patience, I should say. Patience, not so much just placement. Patience is kind of their ticket into that top bracket.
But if you want a full-on breakdown, right, alongside Neb, right, we do have the professor in the building.
We do.
He's joined us. But Neb, you were about to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think as well. There's a little bit of a Obviously, AE did super well there. The 2-2 split, which I kind of feel is a little bit still risky to go down on the low ground because they did very nearly lose both there. But it's still really, really good. But I think as well, what you had going there was a little bit of ignoring the zone completely. Now in this particular zone, it did actually end up working out because that ledge was actually in the circle and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes when you come to these kind of high level plays, when you've got only 2 or 3 teams and the zone's coming in and all this sort of stuff, sometimes you just have to ignore zone and do what you can to play from where you are because you know you have the advantage whatever happens. So for AE, they were able to go, no, we're prioritizing the high ground, not the circle that's coming in. Let the other teams be pressured by that because we have the advantage no matter what. Let them all try and escape the blue zone. Us hang out as much as we can and get those kills, get that placement. So in a way, I think, although it did end up being in zone, I think there was a lot of that going on as well for them, that they were just ignoring the zone a little bit.
So it actually wasn't in zone.
Wasn't
the
it?
final zone, the ledge was just outside of it.
Was it?
But
Okay.
But your point's not wrong. You're still entirely right up until the very, very last zone. So your point is still just as valid. But I think that 2-2 split was the best possible move that they could have done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even those 2 pushing down there, even if they had lost them, that would have taken the attention off of the 2 up on the ledge
Right.
to kind of get
Right.
their moment. But
Yeah, good point.
Professor, what were you gonna say? Professor.
I've got nothing. Can you guys hear me?
Hi,
My
yes.
God. So, long story short, I'm traveling a bit, and I've got my portable setup, which is what I've been using the past year, but I haven't really whacked it out because I would just be gaming without doing anything better. I won't be going outside. I basically missed that whole game there, but it's fine. I can go back and watch it. It's good to hang out with friends, right? So I'm going to pay more attention maybe from Nick's game. So
Yeah.
it seems like it's a good game there. Like the home
Yeah,
team's
that was a
getting
good
something.
game.
I think that the crowds definitely have a huge part to play in that.
Yeah.
You should join us for this Sanhok game and give us your insights, Tarzan, as we go.
Yeah.
I'll try. I will try. Is that the next one? This is like
Yes.
game
Up next,
2 or
yeah.
3?
3
Yeah,
now,
this is
yeah.
game
Which
2.
games
We're
is
going into
game
3.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Sanhok's
gonna be
game 3.
exciting.
For the prime sub, bro. Much appreciated. And let me just say, your choice in names, honestly, I think you're smarter than most people, around these days. And I can tell that you're a very sophisticated person, and just nothing but respect for you. You more so than most people, man. Great name, top notch. Thank you.
It comes with a lot of pain. I feel like people have a lot of doubt. Like, who are you? Like, why do you think it's okay to call yourself that? But there's a story behind it. I think, like, now that I've got a little bit more time on my hand, I may just create a little bit more content. I don't know, social media or whatnot. Not my favorite, but always great. To share there's like stories to tell. So yeah, who knows? Like in the coming weeks or months, I'll see what I can do.
Epic. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Can I mention just very quickly, S2G kind of threw that for me. Just a little bit.
I think we
That
just weren't
push-
proactive enough, right? I mean-
Right. I think the push over onto Geek was completely the wrong thing to do because the zone wasn't coming at them that quickly. Geek were still a little bit out in the open. They can ignore AE, that's fine. But that just kind of blind push into Geek, they just let Geek have all those kills. They should have thrown maybe a couple of nades over, maybe some smokes. I don't know, something like that. I mean, you do see that one nade going over. But it just felt really, it just felt like really giving up. It was like, okay, just full send, we can't do anything. And it's like, well, you could have, because Geek aren't all that in a great spot either.
I think in terms of breaking that down, I think on one hand, right, that they wanted to wait because they saw, obviously in the elimination feed, that all of the other top teams have already fallen. So in terms of points, this was a really good game for them. Where it went wrong, I think, was the lateness. They were slightly late getting out of that building in terms of setting up the buggy. So you actually saw on Dave's stream, they took a little bit of blue zone damage, so a couple of ticks, but by stage 9 that already brought them down to half HP. So they got very easily put down by Geekfam because he didn't have the HP to actually tank enough to still get over there with HP by the time they reached their destination. And that was a slight problem. And they also, then with only a buggy, didn't have the ability to send the full team. And I think if they had a proper vehicle, maybe they would have been able to do it a little bit more.
Oh yeah, so that's
I think that's a good point. I mean, I was just looking at that clip. Of course, I didn't watch like more of that, but I think HiglandWolf make a really good point. When it comes to macros, you need to allow time for things to happen. Like when you are entering the zone in a time that is very easy to anticipate, it's very easy for teams to punish you, right? So if they start moving a little bit earlier, it would be easy. And I think in this type of situation, you need to see which you can kind of set your grounds. Like, you cannot smoke off AE here, right? So you just kind of need to fight Geek right here. But your options, the number of options go down, like when you are forced by the zone. Right, so if those aggressive smoke come out a little bit earlier, and I think when it comes to macro, teams are still quite linear through this competitive year. I have not watched as much, but basically everything that you do has more than one function, right? So you want sometimes you want to scout, but it's also a bait at the same time. So if they create themselves more space that way, they throw those aggressive smoke to choke off Geek a little bit. It will allow them to set up a different spot. And then when they drive, they will also not be on such level of pressure, so they can return fire when it comes to AE peeking them when they're trying to punish them. So I think if they just, rewind a little bit, start moving like 40, 50 seconds earlier, they might be able to relieve some pressure from themselves that way.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
No, I think that's a really good point. I mean,
I
especially...
do see why they pushed here, though, because they knew the high ground AE, they got the knock, and Silas here is looking at the smoke up on the top, right? So they knew that at least
I
that
think
high ground
here was the
looking at
crucial point. I think would have been a good point to push, is to follow up on Tarzan's point, right? You get a knock onto the top, one of the players at the top, so they have a choice, right, on they're either going to fire down on you as one person, or they're gonna have to make that revive. And by the judging of the smoke, right, they're probably gonna go for the revive because they can't really see you with their own smoke on that hill. So from there, I think would have been a good point to actually push, and I think also avoid that blue zone, as Tarzan said, because you can see right now when they actually make that move, they're already taking ticks of damage, and their zone is already engulfed their building by the time they actually decide to do it.
Yeah, it is a really good point. I mean, when it comes to having knock up there as well, like with AE in their position, they know there's a split coming on, right? They definitely would use a side angle and they would use a high ground. Like if you knock the high ground, that means if you want to overwatch your teammates, you only have to peek the side. And you do not have to peek the high ground because they're probably reviving, right? So it's all about these things that after is a cognitive sport, right? So it's about that mind game and the important, but if they know that it might have been doable.
Now a little bit on my end. Is there anyone else's?
Yeah, a little bit, I think it's just the connection.
It's
got to reach quite far.
Discord's doing as well as it is,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is reaching halfway across the world.
That was only Tarzan spitting out so many interesting and great true things that Discord can't even keep up with the amount of information being delivered. So it's like, please help.
Yeah.
Man. Is it just me that's like sitting here with a smile on my face when like Tarzan breaks something?
Yeah.
Down in such depth, like...
Yeah.
So here's my thing though. Is
I
that
didn't know what to say. Like that's a
think
problem. Sometimes I go into broadcast, you're like, dude, you just gotta chill, right? Like, where's your wit? Like, I don't know how to be any. Like, that's the only way that I know. Trying to find out what you can learn as well. Like, I think that's the problem with the scene sometimes is right now, especially European and American teams. They spend so much time and energy in trying to create. When something doesn't work, they need to find a player and spend so much time in getting to know a new style of play that they didn't have as much time to go deep in studying the game, right? So, like, I don't think there's a huge meta change as well when it comes to the past year. We may have some new point system, and that would definitely shake things up.
Yeah.
I think to actually go back to your point as well, and in terms of at least some of the coverage I've been able to do alongside you, Tarzan, right, when we casted more of the Asian leagues, and yes, sure, it was like a lower level and community tournament, but I think looking at particularly like the Chinese scene and like the Korean scene and such, it was a lot more aggressive than actually maybe some of the more passive positional play that we saw kind of from Europe and North America.
Yeah, here's the thing about that though, is that that's sort of an outlier, and I hate to admit this, the person to explain this to me was my elderly father, but you have to think about this, China's player base is so huge, so absolutely huge, that to be in the pro league in China is not even in the same ballpark as being in the pro league in a region. I mean, you're competing with I mean, a billion people, and it is, and everyone is very good. Everyone is good at this stage. We're 5 years into this game. We're not dealing with that season 3 comp scene, where we have some certain teams that would just had a huge reputation but would get stomped today by one of the lower bracket tier ones. It's a whole different ball game, and China is just, I think you need to understand that they are always to be at this level for China. You're playing at such an aggressive level. You have to. That's the only way to succeed at that point, to get the absurd number of kills and be extremely confident doing so.
No, I agree. I think it's that confidence that really speaks volumes for them.
Few ways to see this as well, actually. Like, now that I've, I think there's a lot more, like folks. Because I've been getting, like, now that I've, since the end of November, I've had more time because.
Brother, I don't want to interrupt. You're cutting out so much. I don't think we can understand.
How to get that division, like
can you go into your Discord settings, go to voice and
Of
video,
course.
and tell me if you've got advanced voice activity, automatic gain control, enable
Yeah.
quality of service.
It might
live
be the
chat already on.
connection as
Well,
Yeah.
well.
even if it
yeah.
is,
Could be the connection
those
as well.
things
Yeah.
can make it so much worse sometimes.
That's true, yeah.
Like I've had so many
Mhm.
situations where just turning that off will immediately fix the issue.
That's
Mm.
true as
and-
well, yeah.
Okay, so I should turn off automatic, yeah?
Mm.
Yes, turn off automatic gain control.
Should I turn
'cause
on?
Advanced. Well,
The-
if you don't have
yeah.
advanced packet
Okay,
on,
yeah,
then
I'll
try
turn
it,
that
but
off.
it shouldn't. That probably will make it worse if it's on. If you're playing from if you're doing this from mobile.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm using my laptop right now. I think
Okay, yeah, that should be fine.
no, I do not have that option right now.
The only reason
Is
I
this
ask
sounding a
because
little
when
bit
you're-
better? It's
not,
probably
but when
just
you are-
connection.
When it's picking
Yeah.
up your voice, it's picking it up super clear, but it's cutting out more often. That's why I feel like you have it like on a high setting, potentially.
Maybe. Potentially.
Because
I'm
your
not sure,
audio
yeah.
is actually surprisingly clear when it comes in.
No, yeah. It's really
Yeah,
good.
it is. It's then it just
Yeah.
it keeps going out, doesn't it?
Yeah, darn connection.
Do you have noise suppression on at all?
Yeah,
If it's on.
I turned it up a little bit. and I
You guys talking to me?
No.
No.
Nah,
it's
No.
slightly
No.
closer
Cutting
to
out again,
mic,
Professor,
if that
but
makes
if you
any
have noise
difference.
If you have noise
Not
suppression
quite yet.
on at all, I would turn that off because that would absolutely explain what's going on here. If you have your
Dave,
mic
your
setting high.
video's just like 5 minutes behind, eh?
No shit.
I actually
Just-
think
no,
is
hit the live
uh,
button. Hit
Hit
the
the
live
live
button
button.
on the side, on the left, on the left.
Oh
connection,
my goodness.
because
Are we
I don't
watching
have
the
that.
game now?
Yeah, I don't have that on right now.
Not yet, not yet. It hasn't started yet.
Did anyone mention that AE won the chicken yesterday on Sanhok as well?
Yeah,
Now we're
we
going
did.
into Sanhok.
That's
Are we
true.
gonna see a back-to-back? I think there's a chance. I honestly think there's a chance. We could see
You
the
know, we
back-to-back
talked
ticket.
about it, right? Because we were like, well, you know, the home crowd, being the home team, it's a lot of pressure. But I think on the other hand, I mean, you saw what the crowd was doing towards the end of that game in terms of really shouting, giving that support. And you could see I think the oomph it really gave them
Yeah.
alter ego, especially in that reaction to winning that game. So feeling themselves in front of their home crowd is definitely a positive advantage for them coming into this last day. And I think it helps as well in terms of that pressure and that mental, right? Having that home crowd there right in front of you to support you.
Heck yeah. Last Sanhok of the tournament here. I'm going with AE. Screw it. AE,
Yeah.
getting it, any spicy hot takes? Like, who are we looking for on Sanhok here in particular?
You know, yeah,
Ooh, I like that.
that's
one.
true.
Ooh, okay.
I love it.
I think now is the time where they kind of do that. I'm not to quote Fast and the Furious, but now's the time where you use the nitrous man.
I feel like you watched yours last night because this is like the second or third time you mentioned Fast and Furious. Is it true?
No, so because here's the thing, Dave.
Yeah.
To quote the Bible of Vin Diesel, it doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, man. Winning's winning, okay? And I live my life 1/4 mile at a time, and everyone knows that. And but here's, in all seriousness, now around this point, we're reaching the halfway mark of the day, of the final day. This is kind of where I would expect Nova and Alpha 7 to really sort of put in the overdrive, kind of
Yeah.
start playing on the all-out aggressive to the point where it's so abrupt that it catches everyone off guard with no real time to make up for it.
Yeah.
Damn, Nova are at 99 points, so they've been like kind of
Ooh,
Yeah,
going
they've been
down a
really
little
struggling
bit
today.
Like,
that's an intriguing zone actually. I quite like that
Yeah.
zone all the way down to the southwestern island. So it was northwestern yesterday, but southwest I think offers a little bit more risk for their teams because
Yes.
you've got that northern rotation. So
Mm-hmm.
the northern rotation, the problem is that a lot of teams will be making quite a wider rotation coming through mainland and then northwest. So
Mm-hmm.
they might end up being a little bit slower in the rotation and getting caught up by teams already in a good position by the mid to late stage of the game there. But I also think actually around Painan, there could be a lot of contention there. So Nova have to be quite
Mhm.
careful this game because a lot of teams will be moving through to Boot Camp Hill and then
Yeah.
from Boot Camp Hill to Pineland and across those two
Mhm.
bridges into the southwest from mainland on that south domain island. That's where I'm really kind of concerned about teams getting cloaked up, which you often kind of see when you have a zone like this.
Mhm.
I think a lot of teams will also be a bit more passive in making that bigger rotation all the way deep though into the southwest because there's always that chance, right? With a little sliver still on the mainland, a little sliver still on the northwestern islands, that you could have a crazy time of the zone actually switching onto one of those smaller parts of the lesser half of the zone.
Oh, I was just about to mention Geek here as they come up on screen, but actually for this zone, as long if the zone's probably going to go north, we generally get kind of a ruins zone if it does go this way, and if
Yeah.
it is going to go that way again, Geek are in a fantastic spot. They just have to kind of trust the process because I know it will probably be kind of tempting to actually move from that area, and if they can just spread out a little bit, like if they want to go to that cliff, don't send the whole team, send two, send one, something like that. Kind of spread out a little bit. Really, really control that area. Make sure no one gets through. Once somebody gets through, you're done for your toast. So it is a risky kind of area to play from, but it's very, very doable if they can play that correctly. And if they play that correctly and the zone continues going that direction, they have a really good shot at winning this.
Yeah.
I'm just still AE in both.
I think speaking of, setting up correctly, yeah, I don't know how my mic's doing right now, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
good
gonna.
just now, yeah.
It's much better
Tarzan,
right
we
now.
can
Yeah,
hear
give
you
it a-
now. We can hear
Yeah,
you now.
but
But is
I
there a
think
delay
it's
between us?
it's a delay I think from his
yeah.
location.
Ah,
Yeah.
Well,
we can hear
anyway,
you.
like when it comes to, I'm gonna give this
Oh, done.
another try. When the circle can come to you, is it no good?
Nah.
Good
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
What
Let's
I
keep
think
going
he
because it
said
seems
was,
good.
Red Eyes, what is your inspiration
Yeah.
waking up in the day? And I'm glad you asked. Great question.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
Oh,
interesting, guys. DRS versus Inco, and this is I think this is gonna be huge for if DRS can actually pull this out here. This
Oh.
would be one of those moments that kind of throws Inco off because DRS they do it, but they do it so ungracefully. Like
Yeah.
so if
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Falling
the
with
biggest
style,
up.
as Buzz
Yeah.
Lightyear would say.
Exactly.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
they make so many errors, but they do it in a way
Yeah.
that it's like somehow the stars aligned where it's
Yeah.
gonna work out.
Well, again, I think we touched on this, I think yesterday it was, but again, I almost wonder if these are actual mind games that DRS is playing because there's no way they get this many second chances and other teams who make similar mistakes get zero. It's got to be planned. So I wonder if they kind of are trying to lead these teams into a false sense of security by going, "Oh, it's DRS, we can crush them," and then they don't. But I don't know. I mean, the first Erangel today is kind of throwing that point off a little bit because they had that second place. They should have done more to actually win that, unless they're really committing to the bit. But otherwise, it kind of feels like a bit of a mind game going on, and they're better than they're letting on.
Well, if that was the case, that would be the biggest play of confidence I've ever seen in PUBG Mobile.
Yeah.
Because I've
Right.
never seen someone. There's a lot of places where you could try that. At PMGC, are you
See,
kidding?
is it one of
Like,
those?
that would
Yeah.
be the gutsiest
True.
move of. You're like, yeah, we got Alpha 7 here. We got Nova here. We got a lot of these top tier. But you know what? Let's slow play this.
I
Yeah,
mean, they're definitely
yeah.
doing something like that, right? Because Killer up there on the tower definitely trying to get the
Mhm.
attention of Inco, and I believe that allowed Delta to crawl up right here
Sneak
within
up.
grenade range. Like it is definitely
Right.
something that's intentional, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Because now they just got the ninjas in the back line,
Yeah.
and they also
Yeah.
have another player DRS going all the way around, trying to get behind this boulder angle that Inco is holding down. So
Yeah.
they're just all over the place, and it's just
Wow.
been working out for them.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, because like
Yeah.
that's kind of my point is how are they making so many mistakes and they're still third place? Like
I think
it's
it's more the micro
so.
mistakes, right? They're not really a team that
Mhm,
makes major errors, so that's why they're still
mhm,
keeping the consistency. And again, it's that consistency of just having good games, not pop-off games, but good games. And it's
right.
these type of team
Inco.
fights, particularly in the early game, that is good for them. It's more towards the later stages of the game, but I
Mhm,
think DRS struggle with more. But the early game, I think for them, has always looked really
mm.
solid actually through for
Yeah,
PMGC.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Early versus late game. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people don't tend to really think about that. They just think of the game as a whole, but it's
yeah,
as much of the early game as it is the late game. Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, look at this
This is another
zone,
big fight.
guys.
Ooh.
A7 and S2G.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this
And
is
on
a
top of that,
risky
the
fight.
zone with half of it being water and hanging
Yeah.
out, having this fight, they're gonna be late into. Well, I mean, I guess if it's gonna be on any map, if it's
Yeah.
on Sanhok, you've got more options there than any other map in that situation. But
True.
Oh, I don't like
Ooh,
this.
money.
I really don't like this.
money right there. Knew it.
Money. A7.
Oh my
Looking
goodness,
Oh.
is he
for
hammered?
prelims here. S2G down to solo in the Ronnie saying, see ya, gotta go for placement points, but they're spotted
Yeah.
and they're getting shot at in the mix. And Inco, I think is Inco getting taken out really early on. S2G with a solo. I think they're still gonna be somewhat
Man.
okay to try to go for placement
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
That first place
Yeah.
spot. But
Mhm.
this opens up for DRS, right? This game,
Yeah.
132, already 4 elims.
It does.
I just
It
want to
does.
speak like majorly on the point of Inco because quite frankly, I'm just gonna say it, the early game's a bit appalling to be at such a level at the PMGC Global Finals. They have consistently, all through yesterday and through I think today, just been losing members or being eliminated. This last game, they lost all of their players very early on. They lost too early in the first game. They had games yesterday where they lost all their players. And to do it again, I mean, for a top
Yeah.
team in the top two, really concerning. Because outside of their big point gains that they got from a few games, it's been bad.
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
I'll wait until after this vampire confrontation.
Yeah.
I'll see how they do here first, but I will actually argue the exact opposite, man. I thought
Ooh.
that yeah, they definitely made a lot of mistakes yesterday, but they did so in I mean, they made so many right moves yesterday that I feel like that's where they kind of got their momentum and really established themselves was yesterday. And yeah, they made mistakes, but they played so well in general that they got that first placement in spite of those mistakes is what I would say.
I think a good way to kind of put it is that Inco are doing so many things right that they can afford to make a few mistakes along the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Right, because the points show it. Sitting on 137 points, 3 behind S2G, and still having a little bit of a oops here and there. I mean, imagine if they got all those oopses fixed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they
it's
were
just,
they were
I
far
think this
less.
point, right? Of like, there's I think this is the fourth game now in 2 days where they've got eliminated within about the first stage or the second stage of the game. So it's not really acceptable when you've only got 18 games and at this level. And I think they should be a lot further ahead than they are than just the second place and being so close to first.
But maybe
How is
that's
that
his
not
strat.
acceptable? They were holding first place the majority
thing
of
is,
the time
most of their
and
points
just
are
went
from
into
placement
second.
points,
You're
though.
you're so tough on them.
Yeah, true.
You'd be
Maybe
the
that'd
best
be really
coach
hard,
ever.
but,
Like, you would be the best coach ever. They'd be all celebrating. Like, what are you celebrating?
I just think they should be a lot further ahead in terms of that when they play good, they are really amazing and they're probably one of the best teams here in terms of their team fighting ability and their positioning on their good games. I'm just a little bit sad that actually, in a way, they're not super far ahead.
Dave,
like they could be.
AE, baby.
Dave calling it. Dave calling it.
Heck yeah.
AE with high ground advantage again. They saw what worked for him in the in game in round 2, and they're bringing it here, holding that cliff edge.
Horn guy!
They're like, okay, we got the chicken. Horn guy, you're back, man. You're back.
He snuck in. He snuck in through the back of the building. They kicked him out, and someone opened up the back door and let him back in.
No!
Oh, let's go, AE. Get this
God
for the
bless.
horn guy.
No.
Oh,
No!
no.
Okay, but here's the thing. Yes, no, but AE still did not put it all in a basket. They had Fnatic stay up there so he could fall back if that happened. So I don't, entirely disagree with that push. They had the knock, so I think that their push had a little bit more warrant to it. It did kind of boil down to the fact that this is AE, and when it comes to those actual confrontations, they're not as confident as we
Mhm,
would like to see
mhm.
them. So yeah, they
Mm.
started off positioning was good, but they
Yeah.
kind of seemed to have trouble following through with it.
All I know is
Yeah.
the feeling I just got there, Horn Guy did as well. Just kind of disappointed, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Dave.
The sound immediately stopped after.
Yeah.
Tarzan also saying in the chat here, I wish to point out the power and heal strat in this phase of the tournament if they need a reliable point jump, which I think is something really important to take note of, right? The heal strat and Sanhok. We've not really maybe seen it too much in terms of
They
these
buffed
last 2
the
days.
they buffed the blue
It's
zone.
gone.
Yeah,
to counter
so
it.
It's gone now.
I think
I mean,
though
the heal strat's
maybe
not gone, but
teams.
the benefit of it is.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think teams may still try to do it if they need to, though, in this last game.
I
'cause
think it's
it
a little
may be
harder to
so
pull off
important.
now though, with the actual
Yeah.
settings for Sanhok.
Yeah,
so.
you have to be a lot more precise with it, right? Like in terms of when you decide to do it and where.
But I think a good point that was just made by Dr. Strange in the chat is, they were talking about the home team, you know, Alter
Yeah.
Ego.
Mhm.
Regardless of how things just went for them, I think what is pretty good is the fact that they are still hyping up the crowd. Right, they've been able to move
Mhm.
from all the
Yeah.
way in 16th where they were, now taking that leap up into the top 10. I mean, that
Wow.
is quite a bit of a climb to bring, and doing that in
Mhm.
front of your home crowd. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, people are gonna feel that. They're gonna get super amped. They're gonna go like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's get it. And that's
Yeah.
why
More so
Horn
than
Guy
that,
is freaking out.
Did you see yesterday when they had their first win? And
Yeah.
their audience just lost it, man. They were
Lost
so many of
it.
them. Their signs were there.
Yeah.
I'm like, they were in last place,
Yeah.
their first dub on the board, and you would have thought it was
Oh.
they won the event.
Oh!
Oh.
Ooh.
Let's go. Oh,
Vampire just took out.
A7.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's a big dip. That zone shift, though. Oh my days.
That's-
4 AM
S2G.
again. But
I
they're
mean,
on
that
the
was
water,
a
I think.
high stakes play for Vampire.
I just want
Yeah.
to say right now, ripping pepperonis for S2G because they ain't getting
Mhm.
into that zone. Like, there is
No.
absolutely no way they are getting a
Yeah.
final,
Who
like,
cares?
5 position here.
This is what we were talking
mean-
about. If you're in last
Yeah.
place, this is what we want to see from you: is these kind of
Yeah.
momentous plays
Yeah.
because you're not winning. So
Yeah.
send this message. I mean, that I think that what Vampire did is perfect. Yeah, even if they know that they're being eliminated, they just took out Alpha 7. That's what people are going to be talking about from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're up full squad again. So they're healed up.
Yeah.
They're ready to go. 7 kills. It's not looking too shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Tarzan
set up
saying
for
as
this
well.
too. They took a
Yeah.
boat take really early on, so they actually took a
Mhm.
boat from the north side
Mhm.
where they dropped down here on
Right.
the shoreline. So it definitely paid off big time.
Yeah, Tarzan saying as well, at 4 AM, they actually need to move up into the cliff just now.
They
So they
do.
need to get on top of it, yeah, to control all these teams coming in because they're going to have a lot of
Mhm.
pressure in terms of all of the new rotations.
And going back
Yeah,
to
for sure.
the crowd for AE getting hype, I mean, day one, they were throwing smokes and the crowd would go nuts, just saying. But I am happy that they started getting some winner chicken dinners underneath their belt to really get the juices
Mhm.
flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as well, Nova here. I'm just going to relay some more of Tarzan. That Nova can still get a lot of good points potentially, even though they
Yep.
don't have a good zone right now. They can
Mhm.
play still a positional game and get a lot of eliminations here.
Yeah. For sure. That's it.
IHC.
Yeah.
They're at
In
a
the
really
water.
good kind of crossroads area.
Yeah.
Boy, IHC
Yeah,
made a very, very interesting play here because they know that
I know.
everyone who's watching is going to be like, "Oh, come on, IHC!" But on top of that,
Mhm.
INF and 4AM see them that far out in the distance, so it's all for nothing.
Mm.
And they're going to have the reputation of being the team that tries to do the water flank.
Right.
Yeah.
I find that actually really interesting because there's nobody by that bridge where they were. They kind of looked like they wanted to do a little bit of a bridge position, not necessarily that they were going to gatekeep anybody. It was only S2G up there. But I find that very odd that they've actually gone ahead and gone for the water thing. Yes, it potentially the safer option, but at the same time, you can do nothing with that. At least with the bridge, you've got a little bit of area to play from. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Press down
Yeah, if
to
it
their
fails,
final
you're
minute.
sleeping with the fishes, right?
You know, exactly.
That's kinda what it is.
Fireflux. Why?
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they're still alive. Even Fnatic also still trying to bring in a bit of a rotation on the side here. But this is a great opportunity now for SCE. I mean, they haven't had the craziest run with eliminations, But again, trying to come in with a little bit of that elevation. I'm just
Mhm.
worried about the rotation back in towards the zone. If they can't sort
Yeah.
out the INF situation, Geek is definitely going to find them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if INF are able to stop them right now, and even just hold them in this position, they're gonna have a really hard time getting in because they need to kind of finish up this fight quite quickly, and you can see they're trying to move to do
Oof.
that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so hard, especially with INF here, trying to move back a bit. Unfortunately, for Godlike Star Wars, actually, they are the ones who take them out, so they should be able to finish quite quickly and get into zone, which is crucial for him to get into this next phase. Wolves as well. This is, I think, a really crucial point for them because they haven't really been too loud today. So if
No.
they can get this fight in, and especially versus, it looks like Nova coming in as well, this could be a really big change for them.
They got the fight in up against Geek for sure, but Nova, hearing the action, knowing that they need to push, immediately started making the move here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that from Nova.
Yeah, I like that proactivity from Nova as well. I think the problem is they can't really come over that hill because they want to respect, obviously, other teams maybe in a distance
Sure.
they're not sure about.
Well, Vampires for sure.
actually, yeah, they could be a bit more further up, Vampires, actually, if they wanted to pressure Nova. Maybe can't hear the sounds too much from that distance, but
Yeah.
definitely Will's still in a lot of trouble regardless. It looks like a bit of chaos in the front line. Oh, Jimmy getting
Oh,
knocked.
hang on. From where? Oh, action.
DRS, yeah.
Look at
Okay,
Delta.
and
They
DRS.
never
Yeah,
did
yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is
Delta.
DRS
Yeah.
has already been reduced down to their final member. That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
say to their fight with Nova earlier. It brought down to the last member.
Oh no, Paraboy.
could be huge
Look
for-
behind you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Look at STE. They've got free reign up to a certain point. Oh, DRS
That's
getting taken
true.
out there.
Okay, that's good for Paraboy.
Oh,
Geek,
Paraboy,
they're gone now.
though. The zone's coming behind him. You can see he's not quite in it. They're going to have to move a little bit further now. I mean, Wolves, they should have this versus Novan at this point. I think they've got such a good position, actually, Wolves, now in this zone. I mean, them and Vampires just purely off of the fact that they both had the compounds here. It's
Yeah.
just so powerful. I think whoever also controls that south end, they have that hill, right, to kind of hide behind and avoid
Yeah.
Wolves. But, I mean, still even then, Vampires can still clearly look down on top of that hill if they really wanted to.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Vampires-
the people who are holding the western end with the water being on their side, they don't have
Yeah.
to watch behind them.
True,
Even
that
like
is
for
an
instance,
advantage.
even with there were people swimming in the water behind them. It doesn't matter. They can't
Yeah.
shoot.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a Vampire winning wearing chicken dinner though.
I'm hoping for their sake it is. My only concern with that is that 4am, yeah, here we go. 4am have a very easy ledge up there or access from the back, and they're kind of utilizing that now. It looks like it is very open, but still, Vampires I think are in such a state mentally that they may not be as strong as that position should allow them to be.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
think
backstage
it's the
pass that's coming through.
And then there's
Best
SDE behind.
rotation in Sanhok.
Yeah,
What is
STE
this
might actually
ESL?
help out Vampire here, right? Kind of sandwiching
Yeah.
4am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Oh.
Oh, Jimmy,
Was able to
unfortunately.
get
can't
Oh,
back
go
up,
Nova.
though, for that push. So I mean, that was,
Yeah.
something.
I think there's a world maybe in which Nova actually take out the front line of Wolves there, and maybe it could have been a lot worse. But Wolves, thankfully, they get rid of them. I mean,
Ooh,
Star Wars,
massive
that's
grenade.
crucial. That was crucial there for 4am to keep them off in the back.
I'm always curious. I feel like Vampires should be doing something here. Okay, here they
Yeah.
are. Ravenclaw
Yeah.
should
Should
be
be
popping
dominating.
out here, going for that spray down. This is what they need to do to protect this hilltop from
I
4am.
mean, 4
And they
a.m. 's
have
in-
all
Oh,
the
nice
still
nade.
alive.
Let's say
They
4 a.m.
do.
is Very native.
Ooh, the
here.
Wolves
There
are
we
being
go.
proactive. too,
Oh,
pushing
what
over
a
here.
Over the
nade.
Wolves. Yeah, the Wolves going in for Star Wars. Do we notice the Star Wars player? But if they
Oh,
lose
action.
one, that could really slow them
Action.
down.
Oh,
Action! You know you want it.
Oh.
What?
They find him. I think he's going
Oh,
in for
he
it.
didn't
No,
get
he's
anything.
running.
Yikes.
Oh no, he's running.
Yikes.
Ah.
Oh,
Ew.
days.
I guarantee you they were like super scared right there.
Yeah. Not only did
Like,
he
what?
just mess the points up for his team, but I think he just definitely gave his team a reputation that that's gonna
Yeah.
be the takeaway, unfortunately, because they've had a lot of great plays in this event, but it's been very inconsistent and wishy-washy, and that is going to be the takeaway that people have from it. is
4v4
that
here on
when you
Sanhok.
had someone, he was lined right up, 5 feet in
Yeah,
front,
with a UMP too.
just I don't think that you can. There's opportunities. There's self-control and knowing when to engage your battles. But then there's 5 feet in front of you. And
Luke, that's a nice knock on memory right there. The 2 off angles, kind of catching each other right there. Ooh, nice trade though from Pick Feet, but the grenade in return, beautiful, also knocked down and out.
15 kills.
They're doing so well with this utility right here. Vampire.
Yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Nice.
That's all they need.
What a game from them.
1 win today, just to kind of feel good and get that win in this.
Really
not
nice.
even a win, just a win with a ton of kills, right?
Yeah, 15, 16.
Jeez.
Oh wow, they have that many
That's
kills.
the most we've seen.
Yeah.
This event, I think.
No, I think it was 19, 17. Somebody had 17 day 1. I think.
yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, but I mean, vampires, they bled the lobby dry on this one, so well done to them.
Man,
Yeah, I know. Not
so
everyone's gonna
punny,
notice that.
so
But that was
funny.
very just a pepper, just a dash of dad joke.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Can you write
The
these down?
inner
I
cringe.
feel like you got a whole notebook with these.
I wish.
Yeah,
I
you
actually
think
should
through-
start writing
yeah.
it down because, you
He's
know.
got like chapter 1 is like start of game. Actually, no, it's like pre-game like dad jokes, start of game like dad jokes, and he's got mid-game dad jokes, end game,
Yeah.
after game dad jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I practice them.
Yeah.
I practice them IRL. You know, like
You
so
say it
offline.
to the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay. Like.
No. Like I have. Like I just push it to anyone I see, and then I see what their
okay.
response is. And if it's a horrible response, then I'm like, boom, that's the one I'm going for.
You're like 4 chuckles writing this one down in the book. No one
Yeah.
responded. That didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Love it. So what happened with 4 a.m. here? I think a couple of us mentioned we really liked their position for a minute.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't 4 a.m. have 2 guys knocked, 1 guy up on the hill edge, and then 1 guy down below, and they got taken out? Or is that wrong?
I don't remember
What was their
that.
spread when they got taken out?
It was just the 2. It was just the duo when they got taken out. I thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then
I think.
what about
I don't
4
remember.
a.m.?
See, where's Aspen? I think Aspen might have actually jumped off the cliff a little too far down to get those
Yeah.
first.
Maybe. Yeah. It
Actually,
looks
no, they're
like.
still up here though.
Where's
But in the
everyone's
open.
masks?
Yeah, I think with Star Wars actually they still played it well.
They did.
Doing that split in terms of just trying to cover as wide a space as possible and to live as long as possible. I mean, sure, action kind of definitely could have held off Wolves. I mean, at the end of the day, though, I don't think really he was going to get an elimination unless he managed to completely blow up one of the Wolves members. But then credit to Wolves, right? That even they were wary enough not to just run across and the opposite end of that hill later on, and they all kind of stuck together. It didn't really allow action, anyways, that opportunity to get that 1 knock onto them.
I laughed now. I saw someone in the audience had a sign up that said, "Where's Bigatron?"
I mean.
That's
Not
one of
wrong.
the memes that gets put in highlights. Yeah.
I didn't
For
see
sure.
how close Korea was to squad wiping there with that DBS when we were in that match. Did you guys see that in the replay?
Where?
Korea almost squad wiped. I think it was Team 13. I could be wrong about that, but he just
Yeah.
did a 1v3 almost. Got the last guy down to about 5-10% health and then got taken out.
Oh
And this
yes,
is all
yeah, I
within a
remember now.
5 to 10 foot range, radius, I should say.
Is
Hey,
Tarzan
Zoom.
back, by the way?
He
Yeah, I
he
think
is.
he's
Yeah.
listening.
Dave, you're not live, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I can try. I'm not sure how good this is.
It's working.
It's nice.
Hello.
Thanks for the donor
Okay.
so much.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's not get too excited,
Follow.
otherwise I'm going to be extremely
Yeah.
sad. I also missed a lot of that game trying to fix this, but
Yeah.
does this sound a little
Good
bit
game.
better?
It does.
is.
Yeah,
that.
Sounding good so
perfect.
far.
Okay. Well, I've forgotten all my points, so it doesn't.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Such a mood.
Yeah. If it
Well, I'm
stays
so
well.
glad that you're asking me about my inspiration for.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what? It's great that you bring that up. You know,
Yeah.
It sounds like something that
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask. So, do you answer
Yeah.
that? I didn't catch the answer there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. When I start talking, don't think that I have the answer already in my head. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of riding the own verbal roller coaster,
Yeah.
Yes.
verbal diarrhea, if you will.
Oh,
Oh.
I don't like
Nice.
that.
Word vomit.
Ooh.
Word vomit.
Word
Yeah.
vomit.
Is
there,
word
that's
vomit a
better.
little more appropriate?
That's better.
That
Yeah.
seems a bit
kind of nicer
Definitely.
imagery.
Yeah.
SVG as well, actually, by the way, taking that top spot, and 4 Angry Men
Yeah.
there in second too. I
Yeah.
mean, but look at how close it is. It's only 5 points between 4 teams. It's just literally any game.
2 points between 2 and
Yeah.
4. That's insane.
Yeah.
DRS.
It's the mindset that comes into this type of games. I mean, like, these top teams have not been performing as well as they want, but this point
Yeah.
distance mean that some of these, 6-7 place team can have one huge game and they can be right up there. And if they ride that momentum, it's gonna be like that pressure is gonna, be felt by these so-called top teams right now. And then, but just look at how Fireflux just end up right there right now. So I
I'm
wonder how they're gonna
so
play this
sad.
out.
I am so sad right now. Fireflux, of all teams, after the season they've had this year, should not be bottom of the table. That is insane to me.
I think the thing is to think about, though, and I was saying this to DK actually as well, that even though they are in 16th place in this tournament, you have to look back at actually how competitive it is to get to this tournament in
Yes,
the
of
first
course,
place,
yeah.
right? So
Right.
it's so much work all year long to be able to get to here, and so many teams didn't make it. And I think that's the thing to be grateful for is, obviously you didn't get further than, and even if you are in last place, that really sucks. But the thing is to look out for is what to be grateful for, and that's the 16th position, being still the 16th best team in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Out of
I mean,
how
you got
many?
to the
There's
LAN.
it's like hundreds and thousands of teams.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
600,000 teams, they said, that entered
Really?
PMCO. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, so to
That's
be in the
true,
top
that's true.
16, yeah, it's something, yeah.
I think
And they still
it's
get
going to be
35K.
quite interesting to talk from. Yeah, exactly. But it's also the coaching perspective. What do you choose
Yeah.
to say right now? It's not going to help them if you tell them how many teams that they beat if they're at 15th and 16th place. So it's tricky to find out like what's the best thing to say. Like it has to be. I think when it comes to coaches and analysts or even IGLs or captains, doesn't need to be in the same role. They pick something that they can really digest, like in this amount of time, and then what can be implemented. Like right here as well, it would be great if production would pull up, let's say, the average performance on Erangel, because we've got 2 Erangel maps and 1 Miramar. Those things can be what coaching staff use as well to say, hey, look, we've been great on Erangel, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to play it this way. Just like tell them the 2-3 points that they can actually stay on top of, and just make it work from there.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, we also have to remember, I kind of feel this is the first year where we're seeing every team win a game. Fireflux won a game. I can't remember which day it was, but they won a game. And normally, if you're kind of 15th, 16th, it means you've won nothing. You've kind of had a kind of a rough day. Was it last? No, it was the
with, 13 Elam.
Game 5 day
So,
1. Yes,
massive
yes,
game.
that's what it was. So as well, we're just seeing a whole nother level. And so for Fireflux first PMGC to actually come up and get a win like everybody else here who have more experience. I mean, yeah, sure, some of Fireflux, some of the players do have that experience. But as a whole, I mean, it's still a great turnout for them overall.
The thing is, after this year, this performance, sure you made it here, but what happens in the future? Like after this lobby, for teams that might not have performed as expected, like do we see them disband, continue as a roster, make a couple roster changes? Like it's always something I look at as well.
Yeah, I think it depends. It depends on the roster. It depends on the team. Now, I'm gonna full disclosure. I'm not super knowledgeable on the kind of Eastern teams. I haven't followed them this year as closely as maybe I should have. But certainly for the Western teams, they've been doing so well over the course of the last season. I don't feel like this particular performance this weekend is really going to change anything going forward into the new season. Fireflux, S2G, they've been pretty consistent all year. And so just one weekend, even though it is, the grand finals or PMGC, it's a big weekend, but just this weekend, I don't think is going to be doing anything. It's actually same for Vampires. League, they were kind of a little bit wishy-washy. They didn't do as well as they were expected to, but then they got themselves together. So we may see some strategy changes, perhaps, or maybe there's an internal issue. I don't know. But to me, for Vampires, again, been fairly consistent apart from this tournament. They've been pretty consistent all year, so I don't see major changes coming through for some of these bottom teams.
Vampires all year, this last game, is this something that we were used to seeing from them, I guess? Just not in this tournament? Like, first place, 18 elims. I think that was the record, right? I think after that, 17 elims. So, I mean, they just absolutely dominated this Sanhok.
All Fireflux.
Yeah,
I feel
like,
so
honestly,
bad for them.
If you think you're going to see the one win from the last place team, it's going to be like barely scooching by or like a placement-based win. You don't expect it to see it that kill intensive, because that's the exact opposite of the gameplay that we've seen from the entire event. So maybe
exactly.
That's nerves, maybe that's something like along those lines, but the fact that they are able to do something like that. Now, if it wasn't in Sanhok, I would say then they could have been doing this the entire time.
Sure.
But well, one thing we were talking about yesterday is, Sanhok is just kind of its own outlier from the standard here. It's such a smaller map, it's such a different geography that I think, and it's played only 3 times in the event, so I don't think that being, thriving on Sanhok means that you've got it, but I do think it's good for them to have that on the last day of all days, especially considering how their fan base is here. I mean, that it's definitely good, for morale.
The dude with the bongos and the sunglasses was
Heck
definitely
yeah.
a vibe right there. Kind of looking at like the player cams, I love looking at that, kind of trying to judge their moods type of deal. Like we saw FF, their moods just look shot. They're just blank faces type of deal.
Yeah.
But Vampire, after that win, the whole team smiles, laughing. Like that is what I like to see here. Yeah, they're in 15th, but I think after that game, their mood has definitely changed, and that could definitely impact them here in the last couple matches. So I still think they have room to climb up the leaderboards here and get some more money, honestly, after that game. I mean, they're just feeling themselves.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think the new prize allocation, man, is that even when you are in last place, people aren't necessarily just giving up, because literally every rank is it's $2,500 difference from the 16th to 15th. So that's enough to keep you motivated, I think.
Yeah, I think actually in terms of the momentum that these teams get is going to be really important in coming to these final games, because especially for someone like Vampires to be able to get that win in the same thing right for Alter Ego in the last game, is we said coming into this that these teams can have a lot of surprise factor being the bottom teams and having nothing to lose, and just trying out these strategies and trying new things, being more confident that gets them these extra points, these wins under the bag. That can definitely have a snowball effect, and it definitely has in the past tournaments and can in this one affect some of these top teams, because the top teams, if we notice today, they have a few of them always have been going out quite early on in these games.
Yeah, we saw Inco.
Do you guys see how Inco look? Exactly. Like, they're in top 3 right now. Like, why are they looking like that?
Happy. They're not looking happy at all. They're looking defeated, honestly, with those player cams.
And that's worrying. That's worrying. It's not. It's like someone need to. I think when it comes to creating teams, like when Dave talk about what do we expect to see coming, weeks and months. These are the important things to see. Like, do you have people who would, stand up when the team needs someone to bring the morale up and stuff like that? That you need to have that person when you are in top 3. Anyone can, stand up and say something to keep the team at that position, if not more.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, these are the things that we really look at, and right now, we're not worried about mechanics of players, macro, grow, when it comes to macro sense, I mean, like I think there's so much room still, but it's the underlying stuff, right? This cognitive sport, like when it comes to sports psychology, when it comes to the infrastructures that allow these players to be in the flow state, more consistently. Like that's going to be the huge thing to ask and find solutions and ways to make it better.
Yeah.
Totally.
So point being, someone needs to go on the Inco stage and just slap them around. Hey, third place.
Yeah. Hey.
Come on, we got 400K on the horizon. Just win a game. Get your head in the game.
Be happy.
I do feel like Inco, pardon me, is definitely kind of an example of really kind of maybe getting ahead of themselves, because they were doing very, very well. Very well. They had they had a significant gap between second place yesterday at a decent point there. And so to have climbed down the bracket this consistently afterwards is really sort of surprising. To have performed as well as they had on such a consistent basis and then kind of come in today this way. I don't know, maybe it lack of sleep or overconfidence, overselling. I don't know. But something along it has to be just one of those when you compete at this level, every little factor matters. And maybe it's mental, maybe it's sleep, I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of sleep as well, like there's a whole scientific aspect about it. Like there is actually a routine that teams can go by, just consult someone with more of a scientific background. They know like what sort of nutrition to use, like what's the way to adjust, the body clock. Like there is a way and way to pace to allow themselves to fight that a lot better. But Southern Playing Path is going to be quite interesting.
It will.
I want to see a military finish. I would really like to see a military finish here.
I think we saw that in the first Erangel of the tournament. I think.
Did we?
I'm not
it almost. If it's the one I'm thinking of, we thought it was going to be, and at the very last, like a second to last zone, third last zone, it shifted back up to the northern island. Yep. Because we were talking about the one team who gambled on it being on military, and I was saying if it did pan out, it would have been huge for them.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't.
Boo.
But there's that sliver, there's that sliver. I've seen zones in the past. I remember a game where we were like, oh, it's only 10% in the military island. It surely can't go there. And then we watched 20 teams try to like run it all the way back.
Look at this.
What?
You guys see what we're seeing here? Just ring
it's
around
a
the rosy here.
dance. It is a tango, a foxtrot, whatever you want it to look like. He's doing it well.
Oh, we got.
Oh, but he's got friends.
Support, with an Uzi. I'll show him.
Yeah. What do they say? A tango takes two, and Buram do have that.
Oh
no. They got him.
Not the guy to lose for Inco. Definitely.
Oh no. Oh goodness. They're gonna lose a second.
No.
5 points behind first
either.
place. 5 points behind first place, and this is how it's going for him.
Oh man,
That's
that
not
just
good.
is not gonna help them mental whatsoever.
Nope. Because at this point you're getting angry, right?
Yeah, it's also about how much Vitaly's been carrying. If he just dies so early, 2 games in a row, and those other faces that we saw earlier, it's. I really want to be wrong, because you really want to see teams like to shine when they're under pressure. That's how diamonds are made of, and we really want to see that. It's anyone's game right now, and going back to such a classical map, like arguably you've done the most research, so those strats is where you can pull out right now and make it work. Stick to a certain game plan, but of course, the mentors.
Well, Vitaly's, him being kind of the big backpack of the group, in this case, at least for today, that boils more down to the fact that he was able to get to a position of cover and lay low, because he was the last one for his team up, and he didn't get but 1 kill on the board, I believe, at the time, so he got mostly placement gain for his. So his team is reduced down at that stage. They can still feel fairly comfortable because they know how to do the slow play on Erangel pretty well.
Yeah, that was a cool stat we saw too. 71% chance of 4 AM being top 5 and I think it had Inco with
How do we
like
make
a.
those stats? Do it
know.
just based on the
They're
player?
on there.
And
They're on
votes.
there. They're like a
Well, based on the-
58% chance.
Yeah, like I guess you get 15 matches is a pretty decent sample size, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true,
it's for
that's true.
Erangel. So it's only Erangel.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah.
that's still six,
Ah.
or I guess 5 so far. 6.
Yeah.
5.
This is
something.
yeah. They've had
Something,
this is
a
their
number.
seventh
Yep.
game split on
And
Erangel.
4AM, they've
Oh,
been doing
okay,
really
okay.
well today
Yeah.
as well. So
Mhm.
with them being pretty consistent today, and then having that stat on top of it, that's a good sign for them trying to claim that first place spot.
Okay, very quickly, I will be right back. Need some water and bathroom break.
Fair enough. Go.
I'll be right back.
But just to reiterate what we were saying earlier today, DRS, we haven't talked about DRS in an hour and a half, I don't think. They're
Yeah.
still literally 5 points behind. Like that to be able to place that consistently high and not draw any attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing anything heroic, nothing that's gonna catch your eye, but they're doing something a system that they know works, and so we're like overshadowing this team who is literally one altercation away from taking first place.
Okay. And you say one altercation, I want to also bring up one team that I think we really haven't noticed so far in terms of the standings. But if you look at it right now, 6th position, Godlike Star Wars, they're one chicken dinner, one good match away from actually being very high up at the top. I mean, they are on the brink of that break between 6th and 7th, but they definitely could, with one big chicken dinner, a series of eliminations, they could be right there with Inco, they could be there with 4AM, and especially considering, right, as we also talked about, that some of these teams at the top, they have been falling early, they've been missing out on points, and that's exactly what you need when you want to also have a good game to climb.
Yeah,
Well,
it's also
also-
about trades, right? When you talk about these teams, like a lot of them have shown time and time again that they can still perform after a pretty rough day. And I think Godlike Star Wars one of those teams. S2G in the past have done that as well. They've clutched so much, and the 4AM can do that as well with experience. So, like, I think even Alpha 7 has done that themselves, like when it comes to the history in PMPL Brazil as well. So I think these teams are where we want to maybe bet on, because it's been proved that pressure can't completely break them, and at this phase they just need one decent game and they can maybe leapfrog themselves up to the top, really.
Yeah.
And another thing about, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's the scary thing, right, about it in terms of this tournament being so close. But yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, we were talking about. I think you mentioned STE Wolf. They're holding 6th place right now, but not only are they pretty close to 5th, but they have a very strong little gap in the rope here between themselves and the lower bracket.
Exactly.
They have about a 15-point cushion. So realistically, in their position, they have all the reason to make the risky move to climb up. They have a little bit of cushion room for that mistake. If it doesn't work out, they're not necessarily losing their 6th place position, but they're only being 5 points behind Alpha 7. I think if I was them, and if I was their fan base, also I would be kind of cheering out. Go for it.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty well today too with eliminations too. Looking at their last couple of games and just total points wise, they have a nice split. 63 of their points are from placements and 60 of those are from kills. So they're like almost dead even when it comes to how they acquire these points. So I definitely agree. One chicken will definitely shoot them up here. Talking about STE.
Yeah, so that is, and that's what I think it makes it so exciting. I think especially for a match like this is really going to decide a lot. I mean, Miramar and Erangel, obviously they are still the 5th and 6th game and are still there for points. But in terms of momentum and getting into Miramar, a game like this where you're on Erangel, this is very familiar terrain for all of these teams, and they should all be very comfortable in this map. more so than Miramar in terms of getting points before that final match, this is a really good opportunity for all of them. And especially with this zone, I mean, this is a very classic zone, I think, in terms of all of these teams going straight down into the middle. Pachinki is there, School is there, Roshawks just on the brink of that northern side. It should be something that all of these teams are very well versed in terms of the terrain here.
Man,
Yeah,
is
I think
gonna
it's also
drive me
about how. Yeah, just quick point. I think when it comes to this phase of the tournament as well, a lot of coaches or teams would try to so-called play their own game. So that means they will go back to maybe spots that they're really used to playing. But that allows those teams who have studied well of each other's playstyle or their favorite, spots to hold to be what's the word, like to be more exploitable, right? If you're willing to exactly, so you can predict how they're going to play, and you can basically say, okay, for a circle like this, for this team, for this playing path, they're probably going to hold, let's say, the North Plateau, right, at the Plateau North to farm, or they would like to play Potato Hill. So suddenly you can use these a lot more because, like I said, a lot of teams don't want to change this out of play when it comes to this, when you're at this phase of the tournament. So I really want to see some teams taking the courage to punish these teams for their lack of change.
We talked about that with
Yeah.
Alpha 7 and Nova. Like we were saying, if we expected them to kind of throw this like wild card play here the last day. At least I did. I expected that, and Nova. I still feel like it's a possibility because they are doing that 2-2 split, that 2-1-1 split, spreading out in a position where they're really not faring so well overall. So they're, when they're spreading out like that, I'm thinking they're trying to put themselves in a position where they can go on the all-out aggressive. And that's what I want to see from because we haven't from Nova, and I think the same can be said about Alpha 7. That they're going to be the spotlight. Alpha 7, Nova, maybe even in this case at this point, S2G and Inco might have gotten a little bit of study time from the other teams, but I think those are going to be the main drop spots that people are going to be predicting from people. So if you're ever going to throw someone off their guard, it would be if you're one of those 2 or 3 teams.
Oh, and unfortunately, T2K have just been eliminated by IHC. But IHC, though, they are still about a little bit ways from the zone, so about 550 meters. I'm not too concerned about getting it into the zone, but I always have a little bit of doubt in my mind of when teams are in the back and they're still to get into the next phase when it is already shifting to the next one after. They don't have enough information maybe on their hands. It depends where this zone does go. It does go very close.
Nova. Oh my
up.
god.
Yeah.
This is setting up very nicely for Nova. That 2-2 split. Again, when they won, was it the Miramar that they won yesterday? I can't quite remember. I think it was the Miramar. When they did that 2-2 split, and immediately it was like, oh, they've decided to win this one, and they're doing a very similar approach to that. So I would definitely be on the lookout for Nova going forward into these zones, especially with the zone going right on top of them like that. That gives them all the confidence they need to go, right, let's use this to the best of our ability.
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
S2G though, we're taking out
Wow.
4
Right
angry
here.
men, but they've got Inco as well, and there's another squad here. It's a Nado coming on top.
I would have went with the volley first. They had the
What's
ball
up, Dave?
ready to go.
Yeah. But
Dave, what
Nova
did you
they're
say?
doing a lot.
I
I'm
said I
saying
would've
no.
went
I
with the
really
volley
want
first.
S2G to play slow here because they can literally use one guy's pressure to
Ooh.
funnel exactly like that, and then they can
Exactly,
punish in
yes.
a different way, right? So I think Inco is playing what we call a good position maybe in phase 3 or 4. And this is not how they play. I know they like to play center, but with one man down, with so low what we call resettability from that type of terrain, they've made a huge macro poor decision, to say.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the
Inco are
exact
not
opposite
looking
about the
good.
positioning. Like I thought their positioning was terrible just there because they were out. I mean, granted they didn't put all their eggs in the basket. They had one guy kind of the outlier for that separate angle, so I'll give them credit there. But other than that, they were extremely vulnerable at that position from what I saw.
Yeah. Well, maybe they were trying for those ridges that S2G had, or some similar kind of
think
more
you're right.
advantageous ground, and
Yeah.
they kind of got stuck in that death bowl again. I mean, but the thing, yeah. No, wait, we were. Oh, yeah. Okay, I was gonna make a point. Wait, was that IHC that S2G was just after, or was that Inco?
That was Inco, yeah. But thankfully,
Inco, right. I was
think...
gonna make a point and it was the wrong team, so I'll not make that
No,
point.
I think to be fair, in terms of Inco, at least they've still got one player alive, which is so crucial in terms of this game for themselves. They need to keep that player in this game as long as possible, because they need to pick up something here. Otherwise, they are gonna be in such a bad position coming into Miramar and Erangel, trying to scramble for big gains in these final two games.
Tell you what, Fireflux, I don't hate it. It's got a good overview over the edges of Pachinki, a little bit of that hillside going. I just don't know if the zone's going to continue in that direction. It might go up more this way, up towards Rozhawk a little bit, but it's not the worst position in the world to play from. So we'll see how that turns out.
How do we
even
feel
for
about the
Nova's
Nova
position,
split?
yeah, that is a huge split. They need to
It's
find a way. They
huge.
need to pick one side. And
Yeah.
even if they want to hold that compound, this is the time when phrases like playing loud or quiet needs to come through. So it's great to see Jimmy and Order move from there. Otherwise, they would just like lose their spot. But if they if they wanted to hold it, they have to play extremely loud to play like teams are fearful that there may be a full squad there, right? But they picked such a good spot, and coming from that hillside, they're setting themselves up for a potential win. But they also just need to pick a side to control sometimes. Like the church can be quite scary sometimes.
It can.
Yeah, I like to call the pullback too right there, because they had A7 looking at them, and then also with the new circle shift, that compound they're holding down had a high chance of another team kind of crashing it and trying to take it for themselves. So really heads up play for them to group up.
Yeah,
sticking it out and holding that split.
I'm gonna say slightly a little bit against that almost though is I don't like how grouped up they are. And yes, it's less grouped up than it looks on the map, but I always prefer plays that are a little bit more separated out, just a tiny bit more. Oh, they did, yeah.
That was a beautiful triple nade. He just went straight down the stairs, right onto the wall.
All right, this is risky. AE in one little smoke thing here, one nade would end the team.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like I think they all need to loot, but you don't need to all loot at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
But they're just all hungry hippos, man. They all just need to.
They are. Yeah.
Oh, DRS now picking them off. Let's see if they can actually capitalize on it, though. They got one, but if they ended up getting one or two more, well, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
S2G still trying to come in.
Up against 4 AM right here.
See, 4 AM is playing this a little bit better, in my opinion. Here, S2G was. They had one scout come out there, but he came out through the absolute open, and while his teammates could have been doing Overwatch there from the hill, they weren't. So I mean, he's just lucky he didn't get eliminated.
Looking to finish off where they started, like you said, Red Eye. Gonna be pulling into the smoke over here. Taking out AE.
He's out of there.
Yeah.
That was just really
shame.
weird in Pure. It just looked a bit confused, like they weren't really expecting someone to come there for.
They're in their own smokes. They didn't even see anything. You know, they're just having, like you said,
But
losing
even
up a loot
hearing
party.
it, though, surely they must have heard something coming in terms of such a loud vehicle. So, yeah, it just seems like they kind of clouded themselves, right, with their own smoke, and they really
Like, we're in
didn't
the
have a good
smokes. They
position.
won't see us. We'll drive by. Nothing.
Well, now the pressure's really on Inco. Look, they've dropped to 4th.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still very close, but sheesh. Oh, this is nice from S2G. They've just come right the way around.
Third, though.
Yeah, they are.
1 point behind.
Yes.
S2G.
Really nice from S2G. Let me write that down.
Second place team. That's a huge fight when it comes to the overall leaderboards too.
Yeah. S2G, the fact that they even got the placement now, that puts them here with DRS and Alpha 7 as mainly the only two people that they're really going to be concerned about, in my opinion, for this match. And realistically, it's DRS and just Alpha 7's reputation is why I include them. But DRS is really their only real concern at this point, because even if DRS is out there, then they don't even need kills.
Let's see how they
Yeah.
push though.
Yeah.
Look how far they are from this.
Yeah, I was gonna
next
say,
circle, though. S2G.
Nova are there. They've also got Fireflux, who do have a compound there as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Fireflux should be a bit more concerned about themselves, so I don't think there will actually be too much of a threat. What I actually would like to see S2G go and do is actually move up towards the northern side of this kind of zone, I think, a bit, because there's a lot of more open terrain. There's a lot more hillside that they could navigate, as well as
They
using
could,
this
yeah.
kind of dip just below the road to avoid a lot of the fire and coming up to that end of the zone. So it is an advantage that they're far from the zone itself, because teams will
Right.
expect maybe a squad to be there, but they do have to get and use that advantage just now, because it will fall very soon now with the zone
So
coming
we're
in.
talking ultra mega rotate, just to go with the
Yeah,
watch party
I mean,
vibe.
yeah, if you're
They're
gonna do
doing that
something like
rotation. They're doing the rotation now, but I think it's extra in their credit because Fireflux didn't
Yeah.
fire until now, so they didn't
True.
necessarily. I don't know if they knew about their location, but Fireflux firing at all on S2G, in my opinion, was the wrong move because engaging with them is definitely getting the attention of vampires, without a doubt. You know, they're too close to that line of fire to not. So they're setting themselves up to be gatekept by engaging.
And also with that, again, if you're gonna talk about mind games, I always love mind games. If they hadn't shot there, S2G may have, if they didn't know Fireflux were there, they may have been fooled into making that rotation past them, and then they're stuck in the open with Fireflux full team spraying them down, sort of thing. But yeah, they're a little bit more concerned now about themselves trying to get into zone in amidst vampire spray. So perhaps there was a little not enough time to really make that play to its extent. Oh.
Yeah, interesting turn of events for FF, as they did make this compound, but now within grenade range of not one but two different teams trying to take them out. And Brew on the initiative here, making the full-on compound breach after watching FF pile on into here. And Soulless, last one alive, already a little low in the health department. They're searching for him. The smokes, though, they will dissipate here soon. And I like this from Brew. I like this a lot. Instead of having FF kind of be their friendly neighbors here in this zone, they decided to
just take them out.
Take them out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
take them out here. So that's what Brew needs to do in 14th place. So that's a good play from them. 40 limbs right now.
And I think it's
if you're
important
gonna
to
bully,
do this.
then if you're gonna bully, then you see Fireflux in there. Once you realize you got to knock on a Fireflux member, that's when you really take advantage, because you know they're not doing well. You know their mental's off. You saw them in the intermission. You literally saw the discouragement on their face. Bully the heck out of them.
Yeah, and I think doing that now is really crucial as well, because you don't want to do it later when teams are going to be a lot more enclosed and they're less focused on other teams on the outskirts of the zone. So actually doing it at this time while there's chaos in a way around the zone, that allows them to just take that move and move between the buildings a little bit less noticed than otherwise they would have been by maybe the likes of Vampires or Nova on the opposite end of them.
Ooh,
Yeah, man,
J7, they might be looking to take out the RS here, which could be really good to have the zone.
And that's a great play.
Yeah,
that's a great play if they can take out DRS.
On the outside of the city, honestly, instead of in the city right now.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can take out DRS, then they will have that entire northwestern side of zone. It's very open. That could be a bit difficult to play from, but at least they'd have that kind of control going down. If they can actually maintain that position, and then they got that control of that side of the zone, and that makes it very much more busy for the rest of them.
I was interested actually. Yeah,
that was sound alone right there, man. That he went off of sound alone. He did not have the visual.
S2G, you're just zooming in. Two buggies, love it.
But actually, they have a lot of space to work with, to be fair, because Buran moved one building over, so now they've got all this kind of front side. I'm kind of still worried for them, though, because there's really no way for these teams to move, and it's still a possibility that this zone could move back out into the open. So a lot of teams, obviously, already going into the main part of the city. I'm actually in favor of A7 here, where they're still in the zone. They've got some cover for them. It's about just can they survive and avoid maybe the potential use of the grenades that seem to be coming out here by Geek Fam, who are, as you can see, heading up towards them.
Yeah, I don't like what Alpha 7's doing actually here. Just being this close to one another at this stage, Yeah, see, right now, even though Revo's so close, he's not even revivable. So the whole point of them being in that unit is kind of eliminated.
Ooh.
And now
Oh,
Mythic just picked off too. They didn't have to,
Yeah.
like, Geek didn't have to move at all.
Not
They just-
sure
Yeah.
about that push from A7. If you're gonna play the edge, play the edge.
Yeah.
You're kind of betting that the zone will not favor some of the city dwellers, and it'll force them out to fight each other, right? Meanwhile, you'll be on the edge just chilling. So I don't know why they.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
little
The
confused.
first thing that they could
why...
have done when they get behind that hard cover is to throw aggressive smokes, because there's apparently just like 1 or 2 buildings that particularly
smoke the
dangerous for
windows.
you.
Yeah.
Smoke the windows. Like that's something that they can do and delay
Right,
and buy
right.
some more time, even with the chance to reposition as well. So like these players need to just really come through, but that will just shake things up. And see, like the teams that we're talking about, Stalwart's still in here. S2G make a huge bet, and it seems to be paying off. But it's about how much utilities that they still have. And when it comes to city finishes, right, like you just really need to think when to play very quiet. Like you need to conserve your utilities. Even if you get a knock here, don't go all in sometimes unless you can pull it off at the great, like the perfect time when it comes to the Nick zone shift.
Yeah,
And
because I think
that Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think
Alpha 7.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I know. We can do it on stream. Someone do it.
Do it. Do it.
Ready. Rock,
Ready.
paper.
Paper,
On go.
scissors,
On shoot. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Ready. Rock, paper,
scissors, shoot. What did you put down?
I put scissors.
I put down rock for sure then.
We need to see it.
What I was just
darn
gonna say
it.
is that Alpha 7, you can see them being very un-Alpha 7-y. The fact that they were all in one spot behind that little truck thing, that's not Alpha 7. They spread out and get aggressive. So like to see them doing it at this stage in the game when they are still like barely holding on to that top 5 bracket at this point. I'm shocked because you would think this would be the time where you see Alpha 7 get Alpha 70, where Carrillo just absolutely pushes everything. I'm kind of
I
surprised
think
at what we're seeing.
to counteract that is really why these teams don't want to be aggressive, because when you are the first team to be that aggressor, a lot of teams are going to look around you and try to pick you off also, rather than try to... They won't move in, they won't try to flush you, but they will try to shoot you as you move through the buildings. And in this kind of tight-knit thing, tight-knit part of the zone, you do want to be kind of the third or the fourth team to engage. And it's that kind of idea of the chaos, right? Again, is you don't want to be the one being looked at, you want to be the one in the shadows in the way to come in from behind.
But
Quick
not if you're
little
Alpha 7 and
observation.
Nova.
STE on the rooftops, I love it. They're the only ones on the
Yeah.
rooftops right now.
Oh, heck
Meanwhile,
yeah.
everybody else is inside the compounds.
But Nova or Alpha 7 Wolf would be the exceptions to that, and the reason because you've got a reputation for being aggressively just dominating, your region. So people automatically are intimidated by those teams, and Alpha 7 could essentially utilize that without even being too aggressive. They could just use their kind of reputation to sort of intimidate.
Oh my days.
Mollies, it is burning down
That's
over
what the
here.
utilities were for.
That brings me to a point I wanted to bring up. I'm sort of new to Jimmy's, seeing him on a play-by-play basis, but his
Jimmy's a
reputation,
goat.
I've heard about him for years. Is this the Jimmy that you guys usually see? Because I've seen him make a lot of pretty bad slip-ups here.
Very more clutch. Ooh, the molly though, gonna be
Oh,
burning.
apparently not clutch.
They had so many mollies, STG right there. They just
Yeah.
burnt the whole first floor,
But
and
the problem
didn't even
is,
worry about it.
the S2G, they've still got a long way to go. They're outside the zone, and it just used all their utility on Nova. So, I mean, fair enough. I think the right decision is to probably just go for the eliminations to get rid of one team and understand that's probably as far as they're going to get. But in terms of aggressive Molotovs, they maybe have smokes, but they definitely don't have any of these. And I doubt they have much nades either.
Overall leaderboards, 4 AM are already done. Inco done. DRS, like all the teams underneath them are already out. So going for those kills, I think will just help them even more here.
And I wonder how much they know who actually the remaining teams are, because 10 eliminations top 5 and none of the other 4 teams are threatening to their top position. This is perfectly played.
Yeah, if it's... Yeah.
Yes. No. Right. I forgot it was Inca. Like, no.
Yeah, and this is a huge game for STE. Remember, we were saying that this is the type of game that they needed, and then look at their position now. They've got pretty much most of the zone for themselves. Geek Fam are going to feel that pressure with the zone coming in. So are Vampires. I mean, Buram really aren't that much of a threat unless they can pull off some sort of big play, because they are only that solo, and as soon as they open fire, they're going to be at the mercy of also Vampire and Geek Fam. So I suspect they might not go for STE in terms of just trying to hold their own position.
You know,
We talked about STE before this game as well. Yeah, exactly. They know how to do this, what I call tangential. Right, they'd come in from a side and they'd clear what's to their left and right when they're facing, you know, the middle of the circle. It's so dangerous to put so much power and momentum into a team like them. Has the longevity, has the sponsors, have the life sorted out, have the you know, the team has that dynamic and that bond as well. So this is really, really good to see, and I really hope they win this one. Maybe they can take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd say STE and Vampire played this end game pretty well. I'm not too impressed with how Geek's doing it right now. But I will say Vampire, it's just the past 2 games have been performance enhancing supplements for Vampire. I don't know what, but they're still a full 4-piece. Making it to the top 3 bracket here. I bet you in this past 2 games, they've put more points on the board than all of yesterday.
But see, this is the Vampire that people are more used to seeing.
Exactly.
This other Vampire's been weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I remember hearing at the start of the year, people being fearful of Vampire, like, oh my goodness, you know, it's such a scary team. But yeah, I mean, they really have struggled, I think, this tournament, and to see them now on this final day come up, it's been brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm so curious to see if Vampire gets a knock on STE or STE on Vampire, what one of those 2 teams is going to do immediately after. If they're going to actually go for the push here.
So something that's interesting as well is all the other teams that were inside the compounds the whole game, they were using their utility. But STE, they were on top of the rooftop using their bullets. They came in the late game with utility, tried to use it, got a couple knocks, just weren't able to follow through, unfortunately.
No way!
But Vampire, is that back-to-back?
Yeah,
That's a back-to-back. Heck yeah!
18 kills last game. How many kills this game from Vampire? Look at them, they're just like...
That's the thing.
They got all of them.
Yeah.
As DK would say, they're bleeding in the lobby.
If this was a placement win, like I said last match, if this was a placement win, it would be a lot more expectable. You know, just maybe they got the motivation. But this is like aggressive wins. This is like this means that that's a confidence factor. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Vampire. There we go. Look at the fans. Vampire fans.
I should bring it out as well. Yeah.
Dude, you were holding on to that one.
You have nothing to lose.
Oh my goodness.
Because this is the pressure of having nothing to lose, being taken. Like you have no pressure.
Exactly.
So this is literally them playing and focusing on the gameplay and not really being in their heads. And it took up to here to get to that. And I think that might boil down. I'm not so familiar with how much synergy they have or how much experience they have at the pro bracket, but this is, you know, it just goes to show the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, and the thing is with these 2 games is that now when we look at Vampire, we're actually looking at them as being within a decent amount of the money, right? Like the last 2 games, the difference, now they're at 35K. It wasn't that big of a difference from where they started with, I think, 27K before this game. But now they're in striking range to really make these leaps where the money difference between placements are pretty significant.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to keep this sort of new scoring distribution. There's no way to argue that teams are taking the in last days a lot more seriously. You're not seeing a team, you know, dropping hot and immediately getting eliminated off the bat because they would just want to not get disqualified. I mean, we're actually seeing teams in it to win it all the way up into the end, and I think that's what we needed that for years.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a sound improvement. And I actually think in terms of now heading into Miramar, it's going to affect a lot of the pressure of these top teams, particularly because now StarWar are another contender. I mean, they've already been feeling the pressure, right? And in terms of S2G, yes, sure, they're going to create a bigger lead for themselves, definitely because they had a good game. They had a lot of eliminations, particularly eliminating teams like 4 Angry Men early on themselves, so creating that break for themselves. But actually, I think on the other hand, having now StarWalk there, they still have to do a little bit more, and I think this next game probably will decide, for the most part, who may be our champion.
Yeah.
That one
Guys,
lady's writing on her board. She's changing her team. Like, exposed. She's changing it. She's like, oh, Vampire are winning now. No, it's in the 4 a.m. section.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're okay. I just wanted to draw attention to what just happened with Vampires. Literally, the most, when all these people are watching, your buddy goes to do the heart thing, and the other guy doesn't see it, so he gives a thumbs up. So it's a guy trying to put a heart up to a thumbs up, and that's just money.
So Nova, 10th place now. Nova has not been having a good day at all.
That is crazy, and I was going to mention that.
But
No.
seriously, about
Yesterday they
Jimmy,
had some kills though, didn't they?
Yeah,
they
came
had,
up-
but their
that one
placement
win.
in comparison to day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Day
had a
one, they were
chicken
doing-
too.
Yeah,
But-
they too looked at best, I think.
Yeah.
What about Jimmy? Because I've just heard his reputation has superseded him. So I came in with him and Paraboy and Federal being the 3 people to watch for me. And Jimmy, I feel like, has had a little bit of underperformance from what I expected, at least. So I wanted to ask you guys who are a little more acquainted, is this kind of more in line with it, or is this sort of him maybe in his head?
I think more or less Order, actually. Order was the MVP last PMGC, actually. Won an extra 10 grand. So Order was definitely one of those playmakers. Meanwhile, Jimmy was like that clutch
It's more support,
playmaker.
right?
Like, that was always
Yeah, well, he's
solo,
IGL.
trying to
He's
push
the
it out.
IGL as well. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Is when in clutch moments like that, like IGL sometimes can overload like the circuits and trying to think of the smart thing to do and stuff, and that can cripple themselves when it comes to like even the muscle memory when it comes to playing the game. So the mechanical side can take a hit as well. Like I've been there, and it's quite tough.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. Real quick, back to DK's point from earlier. When was that announced that Paraboy switched up his layout? Was that before the tournament? Was that yesterday? Because now I'm starting to think, like, is this something that Paraboy kind of pre-cooked almost to kind of maybe have an excuse possibly
It
on why they're
might
not
be
performing?
during the tournament, because before they had it on Twitter, they were showing, I believe it was Powerboy's control setup. So they're doing how the pros play. So I think Powerboy was one, and then if it's different to now when they're showing it in the tournament, then he might have changed a few settings.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yo, Dave, I just used the epic pin to circle the thumb versus heart hand sign.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much for epic pin. This is changing the game here. If I could get a John Madden voice box thing, oh my god. I would never speak in my regular voice again.
So on the same topic of Nova, then 2 more games to go. You know, what are we doing here? Are we just saying, hey, it is what it is? Or...
It is what it is. Okay, so if they win both games, which we know they're probably capable of, then maybe. It's just very surprising to me because I think everybody was kind of thinking, well, it would be nice if they didn't win this year. Let somebody else do it. But I think everybody thought that they would be second or third.
Yeah, I think we thought we would be high up. I think in terms of Nova, though, we all kind of had that expectation of, but they're first, in the first day they're 12th position, but they'll get up anyways.
Yeah, they've done it before.
Like, they'll get to first. Like, we all know they will, like, even though we say they won't. And I think to actually see them fall, particularly on this last day, to the pressure, and I think it definitely shows in terms of the kind of mistakes that they're making towards the end of these games. It's very unlike Nova, and I think the pressure has got to them a little bit. And I think also you can say, well, they've got even more pressure because on this stage, this is their home turf in terms of they have the crown and they are defending it. So to have that, I think, is an immense amount, and there should be sympathy for them to some extent.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they could, and I think we probably expected them to be a little bit higher than what they are.
You know how I was talking about, like, I expected maybe them to do just a complete 180 in these last 3 matches. I think that that is something that a lot of people expected from them. So they really knew that, you know, so if you are in their position and so you're actually genuinely struggling here in this last day and your nerves are getting to you, but everyone thinks that you're doing the slow play. Imagine the mental effect of that. So that would explain their hesitance, like, because they've been hesitant to engage in situations for the past 2 matches, and same for Alpha 7, 2 of our biggest hitters playing the exact opposite of the way we know them. I think that has to boil down to the mental and the context about everything. The fact that it's the last half of the last day, just. But again, I still don't feel like anyone. Well, Dave responded to it about maybe order being more of a factor than Jimmy, but But this is probably my first time spending over an hour really paying attention to Jimmy's gameplay. So question being, you know, like, I've seen him being the outlier, the one in the 1v3 or the 1-3 split. He's the one who's off. He's a 3x and 4, you know, spray at people, but it's worked out maybe 1 out of 5 the past 5 times from what I've seen. Is this normal for him?
You talking about Nova?
Sorry,
I wanted to get some water.
So you were saying that, you know, maybe it's more so than, you know, being order, you know, having notorious, like, being a lead for the team, but I mean, I've probably heard just equally as much about Jimmy, if not more about Jimmy. And like, for instance, if you were to show me you have shown me order space before this, I wouldn't have known, you know, who it was specifically. Jimmy, I mean, he's throughout the community, even outside of the regions he plays, he is known, you know, pretty predominantly. So my question is, like, is the way he's performing here in, I guess, pretty much the entirety of this event, I haven't been that impressed with his plays. So,
well, to me, at least from what I've seen of him, like, because he is the IGL, and so he is the kind of the brains behind all the plays they make. But
So
otherwise, he's a very quiet player. He's not necessarily, you know, on the front lines. It's the other 3. They're the ones who do a lot of the stuff. Even though Jimmy, of course, can hold his own and all that. He's typically very, very quiet on the team. You don't see a lot of big plays coming from him. In terms of the IGLing, I mean, I haven't paid that much attention to them because, again, they've been very quiet. I've been seeing much of them at all, really. But from the bare bones strategy, you know, pushes, plays, whatever, I'm not seeing that much out of the ordinary. It's a little off. It's a little odd. But it feels like an overall decision by the team, not just poor IGLing this time around. And I think the real losses are coming in the 1v1s.
You did say he was IGL 2 seconds ago, and that completely blanked out of my head after you said it. So the fact that he is IGL, you would expect to see less from him on the play-by-play. Yeah, so that makes plenty of sense.
I think the bigger question for Nova right now is, we saw day 1, they swapped King for Frozen. Are we thinking we're swapping back? I'm not sure how Frozen's been doing individually today, but are we thinking we're swapping back?
In terms of a mental, in terms of changing the team, I think it's a good question for you, Tarzan. But in terms of swapping a player with only 2 games to go, psychologically, it maybe might do more harm than good. It could work, but it's a risk.
They did it day 1.
I think it comes down to team dynamics. Like, some teams know their 5th player so well. Like, if we just draw a parallel between this and, let's say, basketball, we always have these, like, magical, like, 6th player. I think King is always ready as a player. So it really comes down to why they swap Frozen in the first place and how they see it. But I think overall, when it comes to Nova and the track record, I'm not particularly worried about them, right? I think people think there's a lot to lose for them, but, like, if you think about the ecosystem for PEL and where they came from, they
Yeah.
have a lot of things to feel good about. And
Sure.
this may
More than
not be
any other
great.
team
Like, it's not gonna.
in PUBG Mobile, more than any other team in PUBG Mobile, I would argue too.
Yeah, they
But
have the
that
biggest
also-
footprint,
Yeah.
definitely
Exactly,
within
and
the
that's
scene.
also
I think it's
experience.
more prestige though, is what
Yeah.
they'd be fighting
Yeah.
for now, right?
Yeah.
Like not necessarily, oh, we
exactly.
need the money, but it's like when they tweet out, oh, we finished 10th place, you know, the fans are gonna be like, finished 10th
Oh.
place type of deal. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
what's happening here? Type of. So it's like
I think they will
it's the
always
prestige.
have the clutch factor, the team.
Mm-hmm.
From
Yeah.
how I've seen them, like they've done that so many times, and they've got so much more exposure to play under this level of pressure at this level of caliber. So I just want to see them, show what they can really do. Like, and I
Yeah,
know that they
yeah.
can. Right, but I think deep down I want to root for maybe got like Starwater a little bit more because they've also got a good game like just now to bounce themselves up even more. And but I think it's any team's game, and I think like S2G as well. Like for them to be able to smell that they're so close to it, like through the grind of
Yeah.
the past 2 years, right? They pulled together some great players within the region. They reformed the team, and they feel like they found a special source. Right now that they are in this position, I think they can take it all the way if they play it right. But DRS as well, like they think about season 0, like they were the team that always, very stuck with as a Yasnaya and did not do well at all. Last year they were also very stuck in that way, but did a little bit better. And this year, as an org, they've grown as well. So I think it's anyone's game, and so excited to see how they play out.
Before I
Yeah.
I'm
forget,
just
really
noticing.
glad that you brought it. Oh, go ahead. You've talked.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Much less. No, go ahead. I want to hear what you had
No,
to say.
no. Well, I was
well,
just gonna say that Influence. Just noticing there, all the Brazilian teams were top 3 going into day 2, and now Influence is bottom of the table almost.
Oh wow.
That's really
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah, Influence, to be fair, haven't had a good day today.
They haven't.
Yeah.
Oh.
But they're also a new merger, aren't they? Am I wrong
Mm,
about that?
yes.
Influence
Yeah.
and
Yes.
or something like that. So I mean, yeah. So they're combining 2 different pro teams from 2 different regions, also. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
they're really they really are mixing and matching. But Professor, you bring up. I don't want to keep hopping back and harkening on Nova, but you did bring up a great point that they've got more to be proud for than. I mean, and that's the understatement of probably the year, because everyone came in here was like, was Nova's second win, the 2 years in a row,
Yeah.
was that a fluke? And so that's the pressure kind of that you feel on it. But the fact that we are like what you just said about you wouldn't be surprised if Nova kind of flipped the script here and this last end of the event, and the fact that you say that and we're all thinking it. We've brought it up numerous times that it wouldn't even really throw me that far off if Alpha 7 or Nova just completely blitzed the remainder of the event and somehow just climbed a huge chunk up the board. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
if you're Alpha 7 or teams that now down to the 4th or 5th, maybe not getting the dub, but at this stage, the new scoring system, you don't need a dub. You just want to. Any progress is a lot more money. So, I mean, I think you bring up a great point, but we're kind of looking at 2 different sides of how to view Nova. Like,
Yeah.
our higher expectation, should we continue to expect that, or is it a letdown?
You should
Yeah,
get
all the
angry.
reasoning behind why we are, supporting certain teams right now or thinking that they may do great, is the experience, of course. And it's about, if you think about being any of them right now, the experience comes in when it comes to the things that you really can't control, even to the point where like your hands are shaking, the physiological effects hitting you. Like the experience comes in when you have less of these crap to fight against, right? And if you were to have quite a bit more than you usually do, you probably were taught the ways to battle that, right? Whether it's certain hydration, certain ways to reset, box breathing, like all these techniques that they can really use. It will come in big time right now, and like Miramar as well. I just I want to sit back and just enjoy a game of PUBG. I'll stop trying to theory craft behind all these.
True.
Like after all, within an hour or so, we're gonna crown the champ. That's
I
gonna
think
be
in a good
so.
point you make is in the sense of trying to theorize is actually now S2G, okay, are 19 points ahead in the first. Do teams maybe look towards where S2G are dropping if you're at the very top of his standings to try pressure them out from that first position? Because they're a good game now ahead. So if no one stops them in S2G, keep having okay performances, even with good games from other teams, they may not be able to catch him.
But see, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on which team, like, you are, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
always, you know, you can't. Sometimes you can kill the whole team, yeah, but you lose 2 players and you are in second or third place. Then you need more, right? So it has to come down to the understanding of drop spots as well. Like, are they usually playing the same segment of the map? Like, if not, you may just try to punish them so hard that you eventually punish yourself more than anything.
Yes.
So, like I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, there is still the tendency for teams to just compete against themselves, right? Like, so, but, but yeah, I really believe that teams would just focus on playing their own game, because otherwise they are going to bite themselves towards thinking that, well, why do we only start doing this in the second last game and we throw things away?
Yeah.
Like, even to take it a step further, but I would say it's a little bit more contextual than that. Like, say if you're Influence, Fireflux, or T2K right now, then yes, I would say what Wolf is saying. You know, yes, like, why not go after S2G and just knock them off a pedestal? Because say you lose 3 people off the bat, who cares? What are you gonna do? Go down in ranks?
The damage
Just-
is done, right? Yeah.
So I mean, I would say go for it and risk it. But I mean, flip the script, you know, if you're a team like Vampires, who yes, you weren't placing well, but in the past 2 matches you went from last place up to 10th place. No, I mean you're on what could be a bit of momentum that you don't want to mess up. Even though there's not much time to utilize it left, this last little stretch here could be enough to make more money. So for them,
I think Vampire are vibing. They are just vibing.
Yeah,
to the max. I mean,
Yeah.
back-to-back wins. What can happen now? You know, like, what's the worst that can happen? You get taken out first, I guess.
You lose a player to first blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got 2 chickens
say they got
today,
knocked back down to
Yeah.
back down to very last place. Oh, well, it's not that far. We're not worse off than we thought we were going to be an hour and a half ago. So go for it.
That's true. Yeah. So
And we see them. They're
already...
smiling. The player cams, they're smiling. They're having a good time. Like you said, Red Eyes, they're throwing out the hearts, the thumbs. Like, they're just in a good state of mind, kind of what Tarzan was saying as well. And I think that's so important, especially the last day, 2 more games to go, compared to Inco, who are just sweating bullets, stressed out of their minds, making these weird plays, getting taken out first almost every single game. Like, the 2 different levels of mental are playing huge roles here today, as we wind down to the last
nothing
game.
to gain. Nothing to lose versus nothing to gain. Like, or I guess everything to lose versus everything to gain should be what I meant to say.
Yeah. And Inco are losing big time. They're losing big time money. They went from 400K to 200K to 120K, and now they're sitting at 80K. So I would be.
This is where I think. This is where I think it could be interesting. Instead of saying STG is sitting in first place, it's like STG is sitting on 400K, DRA is sitting on 200K.
Yeah.
And if they move up a slot, they've now gone from 50K to 60K, making that jump. I mean, because that
kind of nails
that makes it more impactful.
No, that makes that boils it down to just a money factor. I think that there's a lot more. These teams are always competing for money. Granted, I don't think the stakes are ever higher than they are right now, but these teams have all, like, as Dave was saying, Paraboy has made such a ridiculous
but that's Nova. That's Nova, who might not care about the money.
But I'm
everyone
saying
else
that
definitely
all
does.
these teams here, to get to where they've gotten, they made a considerable chunk of change in the process.
Yeah, but also it's cost them quite a bit to be here, right? So it's expensive to be at this level, right? Because there's a lot that goes into coaches, training. You need to play this. You need to pay the player salaries, devices, housing, travel. There's so much that goes into it. So for this to be profitable for organization, the team has to bode well, or just go flying like Ingo went just there. I mean, sure,
Against
why not,
Nova.
right?
This is
Of course, they don't know it's Nova, but
but Professor
Oh
was
dear.
talking about things that they could do to like for stamina and endurance. This is irrelevant, but my dad sent me an article on they did a study of professional esports players. And they found that a lot of these top performing players have shorter tendons in their fingers, so like their synapse firing rate is slightly just milliseconds faster.
The synapse right there from order, not looking too good then. Taken down, trying to go for that off angle. That's gonna set.
Yeah.
It's gonna set the
I,
team back.
that's
Oh!
irrelevant, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no,
Send
it
me
is
the link.
cool.
Send me the link. I'll love to
Yeah.
read it. Like
Yeah.
I just want to point out, Order actually got stolen away from Inco by T2K. So T2K got
Okay.
Order's kill.
Okay.
I think it was actually a
Ooh.
third party because they know T2K plays the same segment as well.
That's
so like,
big.
this is just really, your tough position to play anyway, because we know this segment is highly contested, and Nova's tight, and yeah, getting severely.
Oh man,
I mean,
I think it.
DRS for the first time
Wow.
spreading out. Really
Inco
spreading out.
Inco getting ready to squash the competition.
Yeah, it's just I think really
They
hard.
are. Yes, they are.
For Nova, because it's something that we're talking about, right? They've struggled a lot this tournament. Maybe we could try to do better, but to go out in 16th now, it's really rough. But I'm actually curious to go back to your point now that that fight's over about smaller, was it in attendance, the synapses?
It's either tendons, but their synapse
yeah.
firing rate is like short times.
So
Takeaway. I'll send the-
Tarzan, not to like call you out, but obviously as like a physiotherapist, how would you say that would maybe affect, even though this isn't your area, how would you say this would maybe affect like players?
Well, I think like right now it doesn't exactly matter, because I think all of them through the training of the game, like the neuro rewiring or structuring has, like, they've all got more higher sensitivity and reaction time, stuff like that. So the synapse side is kind of equaled out, and the tendon side is just basically the practice, right? So it's definitely something interesting to look back and see, like, how does it really affect them when it comes to comparing any player to another one. But I think when we're talking about money, that's where I want to weigh on a little bit. From a player's perspective, although we know there's a lot of like the ecosystem, the funding, all that going behind the scene, but it's definitely not the thing that they would focus on, right? Like, we're talking about those final 2 games. After all, you just need to find is the narrative in your head. Like, the thing that you're gonna keep repeating to yourself won't be about. Like, I don't think that will be what works as well. Like, if I honestly think about how players work, and they should just focus on the gameplay. And sometimes, from a coaching perspective, that's not the thing that you would focus on either. But this circle is going to be quite interesting, because like roads to compartmentalize the map and split it that way, teams need to know like what side they need to focus on, and even use those knowledge of each other as well. But there's one thing that I want to ask everyone, right? Because Inco has their biggest win of a fight in the past like 2 hours. Like, that's a huge boost in confidence. Like, that may be what they need to make us feel like they can still be competitive when it comes to taking that crown. Because like, from what Dave and I spotted earlier, I thought they were donezo, right? But to have that early fight to really sweep out Nova like that, I think they might still be in it.
Yeah, I think what's crucial actually is Inco didn't lose a single player in that fight versus Nova.
Yeah.
That's the physicality of it. Is, well, yes, they've done well, but how many players do they have? They still have all 4, which is the important thing, is they can still continue to be aggressive, and they can still play their own game how they need to, rather than have to play towards others, because maybe they didn't have the players to do so.
All right, I'm going down a rabbit hole about studying this stuff. This is not the time for Dude, this is so interesting. Apparently, tendons are like huge in esports. They account for almost all the injuries. I mean, we'll talk about this. I'm gonna make a little thing
Yeah.
about this on social media.
You should
but-
talk with Tarzan about this. Tarzan, I'm sure, can tell you more about
Yeah.
it, like the
You're gonna have a
science.
headache.
It'll blow your mind.
I'd love.
There's
I'd
so much
love
about
to.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Dude,
Yeah.
T2K going
but yeah.
after. Oh, T2K is going
Oh?
after Nova in the background while they're dealing with Inko. Where was that?
Yeah,
Where's T2K?
Oh.
yeah, that was the third party. They
Yeah.
got one of the
Yeah.
Nova
Yeah.
kills.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
they
is
took out
interesting.
order like at the start,
Yeah.
so the off
Mhm.
angle was gone then. Because like when that
Mhm.
fight happened, I did think that Nova can pull away from the compound and make it like a reverse pinch, so they can surround the compound. Overcommitted, but
Yeah.
you have to think about these other teams. How T2K has always been sharing the same segment on Miramar, so that's something that what we call basically tunnel vision in that situation. So yeah, like let's see whether they can make anything come out of it. I mean, they are ranked 14, so basically there's not much to lose, and they're holding some key compounds, and I think they can think about a different split maybe, but that is a god compound.
It's a big
Like
split
right
from
there, but
T2K.
yeah, they're going to center up. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I can't believe Nova's not switching their style up at all because it hasn't worked at all today, not at all.
True.
And they are doing the exact. I mean, because they're continuing to play in a style that is away from their norm, in my opinion. Actually, I'll take that back because what we just saw was more like what I would expect from them, where they're kind of
Yeah.
taking on these fights more aggressively and not too afraid of that one situation where they're outnumbered. But aside from that, I've been seeing them kind of play reserved for the most part today, and I really expected them to change it up in the last 3 matches, and
Yeah.
so to see that,
Two more or
hesitancy.
one more to go, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, one more
Mm.
to
I
go
mean,
for them. Yeah.
they
I
went
think
from what
as-
third or fourth to
They
10th
were
today.
third, or yeah, I think they were third or fourth. Yeah, fourth, I think it was, or something. But yeah, top 5, and I think they just really haven't found their groove overall today. And I think also it's credibility to also teams adapting to Nova as well, and understanding the way that Nova
True.
has played. So I think there's also it kind of goes both ways, right? And when a team does kind of fall a bit short.
Yeah.
It's also
a good
because
point,
Inca
actually.
was expect them to in the second last match. Basically, coin flip. They full sent into a compound in phase 1. So that was extremely risky. And now that they've got some confidence, they need to use that confidence to play in a way with controlled aggression. They can't just full send continuously. Like that same
Yeah,
thing
none better.
will not work 2-3 times in a
No.
row, right? So they need
No.
to take that win and then just use the confidence and now play as level-headed as possible.
As
I
possible,
think we're
yeah.
about to see probably the most intense mid game that we have seen in
Yeah.
their event match. This zone
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I think just the disparity between the openness of so many teams going to need to come in through the center, and then also the high ground, right, on the very far coastal sides, which also lends itself to that advantage of not really expecting maybe teams to be behind that side. Also to the sense that the zone hasn't really shifted from that direction; it's been from the opposite way. So the hillside is just such a powerful geographical space in this match, based on where the zone has gone from phase 1 to 2. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really difficult one for sure for all of these teams.
Yeah. This should be kind of a situation where even though A7 doesn't have necessarily the numbers, I would still expect them to kind of pull. Oh, well, maybe they do. But they have Mythic and Carrillo up here in the altercation, and I saw Bruce third angle, so that's why I still expect A7 to kind of pull that one out of the hat. That's when I would expect them to sort of be the underdog that kind of pulls it off. That
Did you get a map feed, Red Eyes? I feel like you're looking at a map feed now, man. Where are you seeing all this?
Are you not at 4 a.m. with wolves right now?
Are now. No.
No.
We're Vampire in 4 a.m.
and Vampire.
Yeah.
Right here, I'm gonna do the X2 here. Let's see how long it goes.
I think you're
my
seeing
gosh!
ahead of.
No, I'm way behind.
Oh, you're.
Oh,
It's going.
Oh,
You're so
jeez.
behind. I'm thinking you're ahead.
I was
Yeah.
about 30 seconds behind you
Yeah.
guys, at least.
Oof. Well, you're with
I'm
us
glad we
now.
got that
Don't
sorted.
worry.
Now Inco. So going back to
astounding
Inco, I
is-
mean, this push. Now they're in an open field essentially. A couple hay bales, a vehicle to work with, and now some smokes.
I'm
but the
there
thing
now.
is, they have about 4 different teams
Look
looking
at
right at their
Breweram,
location.
Yeah.
There's
Breweram
no
as
way.
well. Oh
Oof.
man.
Yeah, once again, they're taking these positions that's only good in phases, 6 or 7. So
Yeah.
it's like they're still in this full centrality, but just in rotational sense, and it's not going to work out great for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, if they still get blessed by the zone later on, then you can rely on teams killing each other when they're trying to peek over hills surrounding those flat grounds. But they really need
kind of going overhead.
extremely hard. Yeah, I think this is just almost like a rookie mistake, and just reminded me of, of course they've got all the wrath as a team, but macro-wise, there's a reason why they have not been the shiniest, like through their region as well when they cast PMPL Brazil. So yeah, like now they're down to their key player and see how clutch Vitaly can be.
Yeah.
So who are you? Were you just talking about Inco? Because I couldn't hear which team you were talking.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
you're
they
talking
lost a lot.
What-
They lost
Yeah.
3
What did we
right
just
there.
see? That's like
They-
that play going right to where their positioning is something I would expect to see in like a tier 3.
Well,
event, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
surrounded on so many sides in the most open map possible.
The third party.
Ooh.
Love to see that.
Ouch. That's a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, I mean,
Man,
it
and
sucks
that look
for
who that is,
Wolves.
vampires. They're just out
Yeah,
here just
vampires
balling
just
out,
slowly
you know?
climbing. Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell they're playing with a lot more confidence. Are they
Yeah.
gonna? They're looking
Yes.
to push this. Okay,
Ooh.
not something we're
Honestly,
used to
here
seeing.
for
It's
it.
this aggressive.
Why
This
not?
is really
The
dangerous.
drive-by
But they
push
get
at
it,
that.
so
Yeah.
That's crucial. I love actually that they used that burning vehicle as well to block the rest of the teams from
Yeah.
Sky. So they actually split at Godlike Starwart into kind of 2 groups there, and also with the smokes there. I mean, Starwart just kind of blocked themselves furthermore after that. So for Vampires, it's great, but unfortunately, yeah, they stuck themselves into this really open position. Were
Oh, of
really loud,
course,
and
yeah.
teams have started to notice.
Yeah.
Oh no, and a nade there as well.
Oof, just a little short.
Yeah.
Looking to take out Pika.
Meanwhile, Buridam are taking out the knock players of STE, so vampires aren't even getting these points. Oh no, that's perfect.
True, yeah. Yeah, for
And the
Angry
Zen goes
Men.
away.
Yeah, all the way at the top as well.
Next circle
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
too.
shame.
Yeah, I think Vampires they kind of got stuck, right? They lost their vehicle, they needed to move in, and they didn't finish off
Right.
Godlike Starwart. That was the crucial point, and there's still a 1 player alive inside of there, which means they can't just easily run under the hay
Right.
bales and hide, essentially,
Yeah.
while they wait for the rest of the lobby to kind of look the other way from them after making that noise. So because they didn't actually clean up the fight, yeah, it was a great engage, but the ending
Yeah.
will really bite them.
They lost all the momentum and didn't bring that follow through, so they've gotten
Yeah.
stuck as Pika
Even if
is
they
rather.
survive, right? Like they used a lot of smokes. They've used so much utility. This is really going to affect them coming into the later of the game, even if they
Yep.
make it out of this.
Sure.
Wolf, did you put a filter thing on, or is that just the sunlight catching
yeah,
onto
Oh,
your
is
camera?
that as the sunlight? I don't know.
Ooh.
Is it the sunlight?
He's
Wait,
getting
let me see.
abducted by aliens.
Oh.
It
Take it
is it. It's the
Wolf, come
sunlight.
back.
It's hit my camera. I'm going to
Wow.
heaven, everyone. Like, let me just
The
fix
mist
it
has
real quick.
descended.
Yeah, it's time. There we go. I'll move my curtain around. Let me just black out the lights.
Well, you were keeping our sunny side up, so well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I'll keep my emo side up here for you now.
Oh, and look, Pika gets rid of
Ooh.
him.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Wow.
wanting to say before, Pika was definitely chewing right
Yeah.
through vampires on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's huge because he's the IGL as well, so he's got the clutch factor. Like speaking
Yep.
of Jimmy and IGLs, like sometimes when you just got it in Arsenal, and he's always been like so good at managing both roles, both as a
Uh-oh, we're losing you.
Uh-oh.
We're losing you.
He's gonna lose it.
sometimes into fragging, sometimes.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ah, no,
Great
it was
point,
going
though.
so well.
Great.
I'm not
Totally
quite sure.
agree.
It's a little bit unstable. Right?
Yeah. We heard about 2 words of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Run it back though. Run it back.
I know, yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, is it? We can read out what you say.
Okay, hang on. Wait. It's a shame they're not all 4 up because somebody needs to be on that right flank just a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Oh, S2G. I didn't notice him. You didn't see?
Yeah.
Oh, you see now.
No, I seen him now, yeah.
It's on now.
Oh.
IHC versus Buram. This is a bit of a mid-pack fight happening. IHC, I don't think it's even really a fight, though, is it? I mean, IHC are just all down. Oh, Alex is 1 HP. Oh my days.
Not anymore. He's good.
1 HP.
That's all you need. That's all you need. You just need
All
one.
you need. Ooh!
Oh!
Ooh,
Alex!
He's going
Goes
in.
for the flash!
Ah!
Another one. Another one.
GG's.
Oh yeah. I love that awkward moment though in team fights where everyone goes down to 1 player and then they all just like, hang on a second, guys, let's reset.
Wait,
like,
wait,
let's
wait.
go back again, like in a second. Give us both a minute. Like...
Time out, hang on.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go to the other room.
Did I miss anything
That's always
big?
fun.
I
Big
used
plays.
to count Buram. Yeah.
Yeah.
But middle of the pack, really.
Okay.
Big play. I noticed
STG.
they don't have the live leaderboards up. Oh, there it is. As I said.
There we go.
Mm.
Dave spoke it into existence.
Curious
S2G
if-
still 4 up. Oh well, 1 knock, but
Against their fellow countrymen. Why are you
yeah.
fighting each other?
Whoa, Revo.
All right.
That was a shot.
Yeah.
That's really big though, actually, because that really hampers
What?
S2G.
Yeah.
Because S2G are needing to get into this zone, so yeah, they've got 1 player, but it allows actually with that knock, Fireflux just to
Look.
completely swarm them now, because they've now
Yeah.
got that space.
Okay, they've stopped
like
too
they're
soon again. I need somebody to go
Yeah.
a bit further behind. I
gonna
mean, I
say,
know
I
they're
feel like
trying
they
to
ruined
be
that
on
opportunity.
zone. Yeah. They're trying to be inside zone. I get that, but come on, catch. Somebody needs to go around by that tractor almost, kind of that direction area.
Yeah,
Not quite
I
so
think
close as that, but
the tractor could be good to block for sure, but I think they're going to stay inside of this ridge line and use the smokes.
Yeah.
They're just going to use their utility for now.
Oh, the bounce.
Bad's going to hit them. Barely
It
doesn't.
took him off the revive.
Yeah, it did. But we need more than that, though. It's just going to come back up, and it's going to be a reset in Fireflux.
Ooh, STE is out of there. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's a big knock, because they were in 3rd, right, when they fall.
Mhm.
So I think that might be the decider for ST, really.
oh god, oh my god.
That's all it sounds. I
Mhm.
think still looking good though for Fireflux because they're just kind of wanting to wait the utility out, right? They want these smokes to
Yes.
dissipate. They want these nades to go away and survive
Oh,
that barrage.
go.
Let's.
And then now we can move in right after.
Yeah.
They get them, yeah.
Nice.
4-9.
I mean, that was
That's
Oh!
Fireflux right there, but I don't think that they played that well, to be honest. I think
That was
Yeah.
a bit messy.
It was more about surviving just the nades, and I think they got lucky that S2G didn't hit
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
those teams might have been confined to that
Yeah.
trench as well because DRS might have had sightlines
True.
on that
True.
too.
True.
So that might have been why they were playing so tight in there, not really moving around as much as we
Mhm.
like to see.
that's a good point.
Yeah. A7 though, coming back here, still a full squad. Keep
Yeah.
in mind. Yeah,
But what are they
so-
doing though? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's happening? Okay, we're getting the vehicles.
Hill, they're going to
Rio's
the
doing
hill.
something. He is off.
Looking for a new spot. I mean, it's getting a little risky here.
Yeah, there's a casual phase 6. I'm going to go across the entirety of the zone to the other end with my team, yeah.
All right, Fireflux, this could be interesting. Take up that ridge just behind that compound where Solke is. That's not going to be in zone, though. They don't really have anywhere else to go. They could go up by that, the wheelie. The whoop-de-wheelie or whatever that is.
Pretty much 2 separate 4v4s right now on both sides
Yeah,
of the map.
yeah.
This is pretty interesting too. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, keep in mind that DRS do or could have sightlines if they do turn around and spot A7. They're a bit obviously occupied with Fireflux right now, so
Mhm,
thankfully for
mhm.
A7 that's an advantage. But if Fireflux go down, A7, if they don't do something with their position, and if DRS do live hypothetically, that's a really bad spot for A7 to be in, especially with Mythic still all the way back. They're not even a full squad, remember?
Well, we've seen A7 kind of sticking together in a disadvantageous way.
They're making a play.
Sort of.
They're going in.
Seriously?
Yeah. I think DRS survey should have them, surely. I think
Surely.
they didn't go in as a full squad,
A7
right? But
are
they
also
get
pushing the
one.
gas station.
Oh.
My goodness, they're all
They
going for
decided
it.
to push the gas station.
What is happening?
That's actually a really smart play by Mythic to come down there as that
Yes.
solo player to catch him out and set that up, because they were just so distracted both by each other.
I would say so, but look at the positioning of his teammates. They're not in a position where they have a separate angle. But to be honest, this DRS Fireflux altercation is exactly what I would expect between those two teams. Fireflux making an unnecessary, not exactly a very tactically smart push, and then DRS playing from a position of safety and just slowly chipping away.
Yeah.
Oh,
the flames!
It's a low heat.
Ew.
That was so unnecessary.
Good night.
A7 did get one Noah Solis as well, so that's going to be another point under them, but they don't get the rest of DRS, so they're still going to have a lot to do. I think this realistically should be IHC's game, unless A7 can somehow start something with them, maybe a potential knock. But as long as IHC stay together as that 4-man, I find it really hard for A7 to push across that open land, and also DRS is only a 2 to be able to do something.
But this is DRS in a nutshell, man. Like, nothing overly impressive from them, and yet here they are, top 3.
And yet here
this
they
is gonna
are.
put them in the lead.
Yeah.
I
Here
think it's
they
the
are.
placement points. You said it right. They've got the same amount of elimination points as some other teams, but it's the placement points. It's just the consistency of almost stowing themselves away to the end game, right?
Yeah, they're not doing any, risky plays. No, we haven't
Nothing.
seen a huge play from them at all today. But
No.
I don't think maybe even the past 2 days. But and that's including all their wins. Nothing huge, nothing significant, and it's working. And I think that
I don't know about
actually is
Mythic
maybe
staying
the-
here.
Yeah, Mythic is.
It has no
they're getting-
utility. Mythic
they're
has no grenades
getting-
or mollies.
They're getting closer. Once the damage count reveals his position, they can fire another one in a similar location and probably get him.
I actually think Mythic's location is a little bit more advantageous to the team as a whole because he's the distractor, the outlier, and he's not going to be risking his teammates anywhere near
Korea
as
is
much.
doing work with Mafioso though. This 2v kind of 4 versus IHC at the front.
This is Alpha 7 sort of doing what I was predicting, playing a little bit more risky at the points of it, and
Yeah, Revo's there. I love Revo. Like in his position though, I love his position of him because DRS gonna walk up right to Mythic, and then Revo's gonna show his head. Oh, they notice him though. That's the crucial part. Because I thought if Revo hides, DRS gonna walk up and he could maybe get one of DRS away in turn bat for his team, but no, never mind. It's not the case.
Yeah, taking 2 fights at the same time from A7. Now they're kind of seeing the tail end of that one when it doesn't play in their favor, right?
Yeah.
the fact that
Some
A7
help.
was able to get that revive on Korea is a pretty big statement.
Ooh.
No
Oh,
revenge.
big knock.
So they did kind of discount Revo's position here after all.
Yeah. It's very tense, honestly, between all those teams.
It is.
I think
Can feel
A7's
it.
positioning here is the best on the field right now.
Here comes the
Oh yeah,
blue.
for sure, yeah.
I think IHC have a vehicle though.
I don't
wouldn't
think
say
Ace.
The buggy.
Buggy is not exactly
know.
a vehicle at this stage, is
I
it?
do-
Throw one in there and just go for the kamikaze, you know?
I mean, I don't think A7 have any utility in terms of nades left, though. Maybe just not using it because this is optimal points. I think A7 might be running short, and this might be them on their last smokes as well.
Yeah, Delta, the solo is really that thorn for
Yeah,
Revo
he really
for
controls who
A7.
wins this, I think, yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like I might be,
Oh,
counting
spotted.
the chickens before they hatch, but I'm pretty sure S2G has just solidified the win. DRS solidified their win of the event.
What?
What?
Maybe.
You called
SG.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to
Is it
that.
my-
A7 looking for the
SG?
chicken here.
am I
A7
saying?
looking for the chicken. A7.
Oh!
What? Is it 1v1?
Yes.
Just eliminated.
This is it.
Ew.
They've got it.
Oh.
For DRS. I'm
Yeah.
getting teams mixed up, but if it is DRS, then yeah, I think they've just solidified their win of the event. Overall.
I like how also IHC that the third player second to the right there was they come to his camera and he's like, phew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red, make sure you hit the fast forward button, please.
Oh, you're
I
talking
think
me-
he's
talking
too
to me
fast
again?
forward. He's already watched
Yeah,
the
he's
last
already
game. He
at
said
the end,
DRS won the
yeah.
event.
That's
Yeah.
so weird because I
Yeah.
just did the ×2 thing maybe like literally 3 minutes ago, and it caught up to where y'all were at.
I
Back
think
to the
maybe you
future,
maybe it
man.
went a little bit too far. I think maybe you jumped into the 2023 version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can see. I think IHC they're happy with that win though as well, but they're not
Yeah.
like super ecstatic. It's the sort of the end of the day win, right? Where that was a really long game, that was really long drawn out, but it's happy to get the win off the back.
Revo is so clutch here, though. Honestly, at the end.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think A7. It was
The
on
UMP
site.
versus Scar here, and I think Demo was
was-
in the smoke.
Yeah, it's a terrain differential. Who got
Yeah.
that elimination? Was it? It was Godless. Yeah.
Godless.
Oh, was
Okay.
Mafioso going for the revive?
Yeah.
Possibly,
Oh,
right
I
before
think
that?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what
Because
happened?
Revo
instead
was
of kinda
making the
being alert?
play. They were getting the revive.
Revo got pressured too hard. He needed to stay alive before for the revive to come through, but for the counter pressure. But they lost. Yeah. As soon as Mafio, so I think we should have really left Carrillo, I think, and just focused as a two-man. I mean, it was always rough at the end of the day, but I think IHC probably had that as soon as Revo goes down.
That was insane, Overlord said.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
I think
intense.
7 did really well though, to be fair, to get as close as they did in that game, to come from the far position. I think they made some good opportunistic opportunities for themselves towards the end of that game.
I feel like this one dude on the right definitely wanted to high five everybody, and they all just kind of sat there.
Honest, like we are done.
Yeah.
It's been 3 days.
He's like, yeah, I got the chicken. But everyone else is kind of like looking at their phones really intensely. He's like, okay, I'll just do the same, I guess.
Yeah, they're not even talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you gotta celebrate it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
chicken, the best lobby in the
Yeah.
world. You know,
Maybe we're
last
just
day.
spoiled by like the alter ego, like stand up, like and clap
Yeah.
to the audience, you know, like.
Yeah.
I was actually
So-
wanting to say, yeah. What did
I was
ahead.
gonna ask Red Eyes, what was he trying to say earlier about DRS taking the event? What you mean
Yeah,
that last
I'm
game they
looking-
had
so
enough
I'm
points
looking at-
maybe?
Yeah, so I was talking about overall in points, but I think I must
Yeah.
be looking incorrectly at S2G now 165, the DRS is 158, so I'm still wrong.
Yep.
Pretty
So
considerably
DRS
wrong,
could
too.
still.
Oh yeah, they still
theoretically-
could, but
Could.
I for some reason in my head I thought that they had given themselves
Well, here we go.
significant.
The points are up. 27 going to IHC. Yeah, Dave just needs to.
Oh, you're not live, Dave. There
Here
you
we
go.
go. You'll get it now. In a moment. Yeah.
Oh, no momento. There it is. We're
There
good.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Rankings.
Yeah, DRS.
Yeah,
still
STG only
won
got 6
18.
points.
It's a 12-point gap close from what was it, a 19 point, so 7 points now.
Is
away.
Tarzan still here?
I think
Yeah,
so.
he is.
Yeah. It's just
Made an
hanging
Yeah,
back.
interesting
he's
with
just
it.
point.
muted.
Yeah, he made an interesting point that
Yeah.
we got to break. Well, when he mentioned that it's not about the money. almost. I
Yeah.
don't know.
True.
I kind of disagree.
You're lucky
It's a lot of money.
grand.
Because I know a lot of the players, when they do brag, they brag about their match earnings and like, have you checked my earnings, bruh? You know, go look at my earnings, bruh. And like that's like an easy stat to put in the Twitter bio and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at the Twitter bios of the players, and I have earned
Instagram bios.
Yeah.
I'm up to $5 now. You know,
Yeah.
living the life.
Yeah. Mate, I'm looking for teams. I've earned $5. I can kill bots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's funny you say
going
that.
into
So
the
I
last
actually
game.
do have. Go ahead.
No, you go. You seem like you had a great point.
So I do have $150 in tier 1 wins, but it was because in season 3 my team got last minute replaced some team, and we went up against Cloud9 at a boot camp drop spot where it was you had to be in the boot camp regions, couldn't even go past warehouses, and we won by disqualification. So I retired
Nice
after
flex.
that.
Nice
And,
flex.
So you beat
Nice.
Cloud9 and so I'm retired.
I beat Cloud9 at the height
technically,
of
yeah.
Cloud9 when they had a follower base of like 200 people every event.
Yeah.
So I got trolled by
Sheesh.
Okay.
just a ton of people. It was great. It was real good for
So
myself.
technically, you could
Fun.
say you're better than Cloud9 now. Like...
Yeah.
'Cause then you
He used to be. He used to be.
Yeah.
Back
in the
back
day.
in my prime, when I
Yeah.
was
Back
Mm.
in your prime.
these days
yeah.
I'm only like a 1.7
Yeah.
KD, but back then I was like 1.9 too.
And that's on a
Nice.
technicality.
Huh?
I said, and that's on a technicality. So
Yeah.
it checks out. Yeah.
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 Okay.
What were you gonna say though, Dave?
Clean here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how much prize earnings you had. I think so. You answered my question.
I think it was like 120 something.
I thought you said 150. Then you say
Yeah,
No, I
150.
said
Now
I
you
said
changing it. Now you
150.
changing it. I don't know.
But
I don't
I'm
know.
probably not
Modesty is going
150.
down. there, like-
Sus.
One
We're
more
gonna get
game
you
to
20
go.
bucks by
One
the
more
end of
game.
this.
We got S2G in first place with 165, DRS 158, A7 third place 153. Like, who are we looking at to maybe jump? I'm totally discounting Nova at this point with
I'm-
yeah.
I
their
just-
11th place.
Yeah.
I want to point out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know STE, for instance, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna push to the top, but let's take a second and appreciate what they've done so far, right? They started day
Yeah.
1 off ending in 13th place. Day 2, they ended in 10th. Day 3, 5 matches in, they're sitting in 4th place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they haven't had an insane run, but they've had some really good placing games. And I mean, I
Yeah.
think the first 2 days things were just a little bit off. I think it was maybe you could say it was nerves to some extent, right? You know, being in front of a live crowd that Mr. Airhorn guy freaks out and then like, oh wait, I don't know what to do now.
He's nowhere to be found today. I feel
Yeah,
bad.
I think he ran out of gas. But either which way is like, I think a good way of training your team is like having an air horn ready, right? When they run, you just randomly go like, ah!
Yeah.
Right? To kind of to get them kind of
Just
attuned
an
to
air
that.
horn
But
guy to come like above
Exactly.
the desk and just blast it in their face. Like...
Sure, exactly. But I think that gives teams, you gotta try and prepare them for the unexpected things that you won't necessarily think would happen, right? And once they kind of tune themselves to that, that's where we see more teams now starting to rise to the occasion, more teams finding their rhythm, finding that flow. And this is why I think it is still so hella competitive. I mean, looking at the point system, or the points essentially from 7th to 1st, that could still change in this last match.
And what was
I think,
talking
though,
about
I
with
hope I'm
DRS?
back,
I have
by the
no
way.
idea how I. Yeah, you are.
Oh,
We
hi.
hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
That's great. Yeah. Here's the thing. I talked about how teams may not want
Yeah.
to change the way they play, maybe 2 games ago, but now there's a good amount of teams who may feel like things are set in stone. Right, so for those teams to go out to destroy and target a particular team is a lot more real in the final game. So like if
Right.
I'm like, let's say, well, right, like we got brought in here like as an invitational team and we want to make a statement, let's just fight, right? They didn't have
Right.
so much to lose, especially from the region. Like the earnings from PEL is pretty good. And now that they're in here, they could cause some serious disruption. And I think there's a huge potential switch in mindset for those teams that don't feel like they may go too, may gain that much more, like from this one game, and they can just go out there in full disruption mode.
Sure.
Yeah, and we just saw the graphic too. It said expected drop spots right there. Like they're broadcasting it on the screen, right? So if I'm AE, I'm looking at the air horn guy. I'm like, listen, guy, last game, get that air horn ready. We're going for it. Start blasting it, and we're dropping these top teams. And kind of back to DK Z's point is like you have to expect the unexpected. And we're joking around about training about the air horn, but also you gotta kind of think about, to your point, Tarzan. You are first place, S2G. You have a 7-point lead above DRS. Okay, sure. But are these bottom teams realistically thinking now, last game, we're going to drop them? Might as well put on that show. And we've seen in other tournaments, it's happened multiple times. So it's definitely a risk that, I don't know, will they change up their drop spot then? With that in mind, because S2G, they're trying to hold on to the 400K right now.
Yeah, it's true.
I have no idea how I thought DRS placed in that. I mean, it's driving me crazy.
They're 7 points behind, so I mean, there's definitely a chance they can win for sure.
No, I know, but I thought they did well last match somehow, and they got.
You did call
place.
it. I was like, what? He's like, DRS.
Yeah, I was like,
they won the event. I'm calling it now. I'm like,
I'm still trying to figure out, and I was sure when I said. I mean, I was sure. I have no idea how I made that mix up.
Hey, maybe you're right though. One more game.
Interested to see, and I don't want to throw shade, but like if DRS win, I want to see the reaction red. After all of today, DRS
I would be genuinely that. I think that would be a huge message to the esports scene in general of kind of the showboating versus kind of the slow and steady wins the race. Because you don't think about any of the top performing teams in PUBG Mobile doing that. The Knights are known for being, hella aggressive. Nova, Alpha 7, none of these reputable top teams that do it by that slow play. None of them.
Yeah.
But here's one thing though. I think the growth of DRS comes from them knowing how to. They may not go very aggressive, but they have that controlled aggression. When they have the position, they play it and hold it so much better than they've done in the past compared to years. So I think that is something that we really need to give them, credit for. That's a lot of teams, when we see them having a good spot, they may just throw it, right? They don't know which side to control. But from DRS, especially on this map, in the wins that they had, they really know how to pace it. They know when to group, how far to control over a semi-wide split, and I think that is something that people have overlooked. Yes, they may seem very slow, but they've done they've got the fundamentals so much better, and I think that is something that we just cannot forget. And they just need to play that same card, on this final game when people may tend to go too far, right? So that is where they can capitalize it. They can still use this strong, the strength that they have shown that people may not have picked up on.
Yeah,
and I think is this the team of misfits that because I saw someone post yesterday that these are all previous pros from other teams that were kind of rejected. Is that this team right here? I think that is. Because they all have been on pretty top performing teams, but kind of been looked at as the outcast. They were kicked out of those groups. So I think realistically we're looking at them as a new team, but they're all fairly.
My YouTube's down?
No, sorry, I meant the feed. Sorry.
Oh, I'm looking at DRS. I'm looking at DRS looking stressed.
I know.
Dude's meditating, and then Alpha 7 out here praying to the circle gods. They are. The last game is
when you're second place.
Oof.
Yeah. I think.
Did you see A7? Korea looked like he was gonna break something, and the other guy was praying.
Yeah. Oh,
it was also interesting to go back to, I think, Tarzan's point as well on the positional and just the good positional game generally for teams and throughout the phases of each game. It's intriguing actually that through the year, I think we've seen more of an aggressive stance in terms of PUBG, right? So we've seen like Europe, we've seen America, we've seen, at least for me, I know for sure, the Arabian region has been very aggressive and is always going in for the closest center of the circle earlier on. Now it's none of this kind of standing back and all of the edge of the circle, and we'll do a little dance slowly in towards the center as slow as we possibly can. Whereas actually DRS are kind of mixed the two, right? They are being aggressive in terms of the early game and their positioning, but then they're also having that respectability and understanding that actually we don't want to jump into things towards the mid to the late game stage. So actually combining that kind of two and a sense of harmony for DRS that they've been able to find, I think is what's beautiful for this team. Like, sure, it doesn't always work out. Yeah,
I think a step further. I'd say that the reason they're doing it is because they're not as good of players, and I mean that in like in the most brutal sense of the word. I don't mean it to be like, oh, these guys suck, but like I mean they know that they're not as skilled in their close quarter combat, and so they're utilizing their strength. They're not gonna give up that easy, weakness. They're not gonna be easily vulnerable in something that they know that they aren't as good at. So when they're going up against, let's say Alpha 7, regardless of whatever tilt they're on, they're not pushing Alpha 7. They're staying as a singular unit. For better or for worse, it's always this underwhelming performance, it looks like, but it's so consistent. Who cares?
Yeah, and I think that's what's scary. Is there a team that kind of wait for you to make a mistake rather than try to push the fight or to push the play? They wait for you to slip up, and then that's when they'll go in.
And then that's when they slip up, and then somehow it still works
That's
out.
when T2K come in behind a tree and double nade them. Yeah. Yeah.
Where the heck did they come from?
Yeah.
They were there the whole time. You didn't know. Any hot drops? I mean, it's way too early to tell, but anything looking unusual?
I think the plane path may constrict a couple of these teams earlier on, just the initial first few minutes.
Oh, are
so we
DRS
might
going
see
somewhere else? Do they usually go to Milta? I mean, the expected drop had them elsewhere on that graphic.
Yeah. Unless they've changed
Or
it.
is that
but,
S2G I'm talking about? I think it was S2G. I had a question if there's no hot drops for the panel here. Really think about it here, because I was wondering if you were in the crowd, what would your sign say?
Oh. Where's HVVP?
Yeah.
We saw
I'll
the
just
Where's
have
Bigatron one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have a sign sitting next to Nep and just saying what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would, if I'm voting for Wolves, I would have something like Wolves, like, and then, woo! Like,
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I would say remember to meditate. Is what my son is going to say. Like, try to push them, and I've got no position to do so. It's like
you're switching out signs depending.
Yeah, you got multiple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they trained to drop T2K, right?
Oh.
I mean, they just gliding it out. I think Cube is going to be a good setup for them. I mean, it's just on the edge of zone as well, so they've also managed to kind of escape that rotation coming just ahead of them. So
that's true.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. I think, Four Angry Men just want their own location because, of course, Four Angry Men, they do go towards Novo. So I think understanding that they should have this space to themselves, even if 4 AM are there, they're going to want to go to more comfortability in this last game. So, overall pretty good from T2K. I think really now, though, it's just about their positions and how to these teams at the top rotate, right? Because S2G, they did slip a little bit in that last game. I think they did enough to still secure themselves a decent little bit of a cushion here in terms of one game differential, but DRS are there. And I mean, even to an extent, A7, if there's a world in which S2G and DRS go down quite early on, and A7 have a pop-off game, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see a 15-point swap.
That's true.
Yeah. But another thing to add is, right, if you look back at last year's PMGC, the difference between the first and last place, right?
Yeah.
Was 150 point difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they've halved it.
That's
Mhm.
true. Yeah.
I think that's the scoring
62
difference.
points. No, but
Yeah.
still, the level of competition has gone up. There's only 60
Mhm.
points separating first from last, not first from second or
Mhm.
anything
Yeah,
else. I mean,
I'm not
last year,
arguing with that.
Nova were leading with 50 points.
Mhm.
And I think
Yes.
the level of competition is higher, but I think it's also because of the new scoring system.
Yeah.
Because even
The
when
new
you're in
s-
last place, you aren't out of the running of improving your situation by getting one slot higher. I mean,
Well, I thought the scoring
difference is
system's not implemented.
we've talked about this
Yeah.
yesterday. God,
Yes.
Yeah,
this is the
it's for
third
next
day in a
year.
row I thought that.
They should have talked about that after
Yeah.
the tournament because I'm
After
sure
the
there's a lot
tournament.
of people that are kind of in the same boat as you,
Yeah.
Red Eyes, thinking like
Yeah.
this is the scoring system. Like they
Oh.
announced it right before game one happened, so it totally makes
Yeah.
sense to be like, but
Yeah.
no, and it is
That
2023.
is the third time that Neptura has
Yeah.
had to tell me.
That's okay,
Yeah.
man. Hey, we got the panel, all
chill.
right? We're here,
Hey,
man. We're here.
yeah. What's the panel
Yeah.
for?
We've got
For
our
non-red
wraparound
eyes.
approach.
Oh. Listen,
A7
I just
Mythic
want to
out
say
here
that
in
the
the
new
wide
scoring
open.
system and
Mm.
DRS doing so well last match all, you know,
Well, DRS
Yeah,
already won.
yeah.
crushing these
so.
analytics here in the past 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think
The
what makes
monster
it
and coffee chugs back to back are getting to you, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, listen,
yeah.
we've been
So
waking up at
much.
like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. So, I mean, shout out to you, Red
Ah,
Eyes.
True,
fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it speaks to the closeness of the tournament, right? Between all 18 of these games, yeah, looking at last year, it was 50 points. Nova had won it before the last game, but now we're looking at this last game saying, well, even third place could
Yeah.
like take it, not just between first and second. And throughout the whole of the tournament, especially going into today, even it was so tight between all of these teams. Where like one game, I mean, Vampire is a good example, right? Or two chicken dinners, two good performances gets you from 16th pretty much to the top half of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
doubled their money
Yeah.
today
up,
so
up
far.
till
Yeah.
up till 7th place is still pretty much in contention for first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
7 slots.
Yeah.
Wow.
Vampire started today, by the way. I believe it was with 43 points, and now we're at 117. So it's a big day for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah, they can go
Yeah.
home very happy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh.
But to kind of to go add on to DK's point, I did look at the kind of go back to last year as well, because Nova are currently at what 111 points, and that's a game that was on the first Erangel, or rather the second Erangel game of today was 111.
Yeah.
They're still at 111.
Oh.
But it reminded me of I kind of went over their points from last year, and they are exactly 100 points less than their win of last year.
Yeah.
They had 222 points with
Yeah,
that win last
exactly
year.
halfway there. Exactly
Yeah.
halfway there.
I think there's a point to be said about the closeness. Probably does have a lot to do with that. In terms of the points are just more evenly distributed. But yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
I think that Nova
Yeah.
just haven't looked as strong
No.
in last year. I think they haven't looked like the team in this tournament, and I would argue to say even in the first stages of this tournament, having to make that big climb in one day, the overall look of Nova has not been that deadly team that just looks like a complete superpower.
And see, I thought we
Also-
saw them when they had that win yesterday. I thought, oh, here they are, they're back, and then they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah,
think it's healthy for the scene
Yeah, it's
to
good.
have it this balanced.
Well, it's crazy to see that Nova is currently doing worse than Wolves. And
Yeah.
Wolves has been making literally they've been doing the same mistake the entire event and playing individually and not as a team. And right now, Nova
Yeah.
went from being in a reputable position down to below that. That blows my mind right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at no
It's
point did Wolves
also-
impress me. At no point.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a step up, I think, from other regions, because generally, actually, the Chinese region hasn't been as strong this year. Particularly day one of these 3 days, they were sitting about, I believe, 8th or 10th 11th, 12th-ish position. The three of the teams together, it was Brazil day number 1, right? But even after looking at day 3, For Angry Men aren't the team that we expected them to be maybe a year ago, where they were this insanely aggressive team. They were always at the top of the leaderboard. They had to work their way up to today, particularly to get to that 6th spot, and then Wolves and Nova, especially for Nova, a 2-time world champion, just not being quite there. So yeah, sure, it's a small perspective. It's a small amount of teams to take a whole region from in terms of only 3, but these should still be the 3 best teams that this region should be producing.
And that's a good point. The other regions are stepping up, because look at the top 3, 2 Western teams.
Yeah.
If we're gonna split them East-West, like we have done in previous years, 2 Western teams. Usually Western teams aren't until 7th or 8th or 9th or something like that, and they're 2 in the top 3.
But another thing that we can add in, right? SCG and STE, both teams have improved in their performances since the last PMGC. I mean, SCG were in 4th place on 150 points. Now they've got 15 more than last. And STE had 140, where they now have 44, right? So, I mean, it's 4 points difference, but still, the placement is higher.
Yes.
The teams have really been stepping up the performances quite a considerable amount. So, I mean, Alpha 7, they've also upped it, right? They were 139 points last year, finishing in 9th, now sitting in 3rd with 153. So, there's so many teams doing so many phenomenal things out here. I think they all are hella proud of their performances and what they've been able to accomplish in this past year, not only just in this event.
Yeah.
I mean, even the bottom teams, and especially the bottom teams in a way. I mean, last year, the 16th place was 79 points, and it's 103 this time around. So just the whole level across the globally is just really, really up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, even the last place team in terms of their position, day 1, right? We were saying how they were so far ahead. So yeah, sure, we will have a bad day, but this is still a team that, had it been different maybe today, they still could have been right up there at the top. So
exactly,
it definitely is a lot to think about in terms of just how actually evenly matched and how close the scene is, I think, especially with all of these other regions becoming so much stronger.
Yeah.
I'd say the
Real
only
quick,
team that would be an exception to what
I
you
don't
just said
want
is
to talk
Nova.
about. Right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to talk about. I'm not sure how my connection is, but
Well, I guess
the
my main
S2G and
inspiration
the
would probably be my parents.
Yeah.
Just growing up,
It's
they
a
were
little
always
bit.
a really big influence. But it's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fuzzy still. It's a bit better, but a bit fuzzy.
No, but
Oh, he's
try-
typing. I was gonna say, out of the 2 teams
He's
in 1st
typing.
and 2nd, though, we saw DRS are at prison, nobody near them, and STG have about maybe 4 different squads in their general area.
Yeah.
So if there was a team to get involved here or into some conflicts a little early, it will be S2G. And S2G, yes, they lost one on the rotate, getting stuck out in the open with the 20 tire being popped, and now Ray Z in the front line here. Double barrel shotgun up against 4 AM, a pretty solid team. So
but look at the
S2G are
positioning.
Yeah.
in a very difficult position.
Oh,
But,
yeah,
that was a
Tarzan.
big nade.
So
That
if
was
I was...
a... Yeah?
No, go ahead.
I mean, I was just going to say, King Shen needs to kind of move up a bit here. Yeah, sure, they're good right now in terms of supporting the team from back, but SGG are in the same building. And now, unfortunately, there's nothing
In
we can do
the
to support
back.
them.
Careful, careful,
Dude's
careful. It's the
prepping a
push.
grenade.
Yes!
This man was prepping a grenade while raising.
Ray!
Oh
Get him!
my
Yes!
days! 4 Angry Men just looked like they fell apart there, to be honest.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Can we get the
No.
revives though? T2K on the outskirts has me worried because that has been a team that hasn't been hesitating to third party people today.
That was so important for SGG to win that fight. But yeah, T2K not coming in maybe fast enough. I think just 4 Angry Men, they just looked a bit split. I mean, S2G had a good split to support each other for sure, as Tarzan says. But yeah, as soon as one goes down on 4 Angry Men, I think, they're already in the compound Kingshen
Yeah.
get in there as well and support your team, because it just looked so easy from that
Silas
point
is
to
just stuck.
crossover.
I think it's interesting to note what DRS is doing right now, and that they're doing what they've been doing the entire time, but it's like they're waiting to see what S2G is going to put down here. If S2G is eliminated, then they don't need to do anything drastic. But I would say otherwise, given the way S2G's performed, DRS needs to stop what they're doing now. It's worked very well up until then, but they're not going to get first.
Yeah,
Stop
they
what
need
they're
to
doing.
stop.
I think continue to just play the late game.
Depending on what S2G does. If S2G gets, they've already got 4 kills and they're 4 alive, but if they go out in the next, let's see how far along we are, stage 4. If they go out in the next 5 minutes, I'd say DRS doesn't need to even put the kills on the board, as long as they just placement, which that they know how to do. They know how to lay under the radar and get those numbers down without bringing the attention onto themselves. So if they can do that, so they're playing based off of how another team is doing right now, and I mean that's top pressure.
Silas. Nice.
Oh, okay.
Saving
Okay, I
private
was gonna
fire.
say.
Oh, my
Ooh,
days.
no,
Oh.
Oh no!
Oh.
Okay, Sunday, chance, dude. No.
Aw.
Yeah.
I mean, good for Nova, I guess, but they're still getting just peppered out there. Okay, it's gonna be vampires. What?
Oh, and
Solus is
Solus?
coming up
Excuse
right
me?
now.
What?
Why'd Solus even roll up right there? Like,
What?
They were. They
Aw.
were.
Yeah.
GG's
then-
Fireflux, you played well. Well done,
yeah,
guys.
I think Solus is like, yeah, I'm done, and here you
Yeah.
go. I don't even think they popped out the car right there.
Nah. See you next year for sure.
See you next year. Oh, here's
Alright,
DRS.
this is going to be huge right here to see what. No, okay, so they're not going to even engage that.
Huh.
Tarzan's typing away. Tarzan, try to talk again. The final blow.
You kill me, now I kill me.
Kill me.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
they
I
took
thought they
one.
took out 2 of them. I thought they took out 2 of the DRS. It's one
Nearly.
down. This is honestly, if you're BRU, you could literally change the outcome of the entire event right now.
Yeah.
DRS, fortunate for them, it is BRU though, right? That are right there trying to kind of poke them because they haven't really been performing too well. They got that one chicken, but besides that, not much happening from them in this tournament.
But if you're BRU, who cares? Who cares? You don't have anything to lose. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just surprised actually they're even showing the scoreline here as Inca. I think it looks a bit dicey for them with Godlike Star Wars, but I'm surprised they're showing the leaderboard. I thought they would hide it maybe for the last game actually. Because, I mean, maybe I'm a bit mean in that sense, so I don't want anyone to know.
Nah, let them know. I mean, you got to know how close it is, right? Like, because you know what's important here is knowing how many players are alive or down from the squad as well.
Hide maybe the points. Yeah.
oh my gosh, guys, DRS.
Oh, Brew pulling up.
Oh,
Trying to get that
this could be
run over.
big for DRS, yeah.
This is what I'm saying. They don't know how to handle this situation.
Oh, DRS, they're done.
How did he not?
Yeah.
I have a clip of this that I'm posting as well. So yesterday day before yesterday, I was run over twice and I didn't get killed. And I just saw him get hit by the vehicle too, like plainly get hit and not knocked.
I am cheering for A7 right now.
A7 better step up now.
Yeah, day one, Red Eyes asked me, I said, A7, this is their game. This has to be.
Yeah.
S2G still alive, though, has me concerned. So same thing with this clean feed. DKZ, is this clean feed lagging out for you too, or?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
because
it's the
I'm
same,
watching
yeah.
yours and mine, and it's like, no, it's the
Mine
same.
too.
Okay, I
Little
missed
fuzzy.
Pressure about
that.
OBS. The guy whose computer is running the production, he's like, oh god, not now. No.
Yeah,
We've got
literally.
one more game, please. Oh man, yeah. I think A7 though. Maybe it's a bit too late because I mean, just quite frankly, from a numbers perspective, it's just going to get maybe
Points?
too difficult to catch up though,
Ooh,
especially
Win.
with
And not only
S2G
even
alive.
if they don't get the dub, even if they don't get the dub, they have just basically, as long as they survive, they've beaten DRS.
Yeah,
Are
it's
Nova
just a
actually
beater.
getting involved this game too? Nova have 5 elims. STE,
Yeah.
we've been sleeping on them a little bit. 6 elims, 4th place.
Oh, yeah.
70
for me.
limbs.
7.
Mm.
Holy
Ooh,
cow.
DRS in trouble.
Nice.
Yes, DRS definitely in trouble now. That 200K.
Yeah.
So 4th place is 80K. 2nd place 200. So that's a massive jump.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
that
mean,
could
they're
be a
right
lot.
there. They're right there, only 2 points
Mm.
away. 2 points away
Yeah.
from parring up with Alpha 7. Speaking about 2 points, Strange says it's a buggy glitch, the knock thing.
Yeah.
Ah,
I mean,
You're
yeah.
getting run over. Yeah.
I mean, of course it's a glitch, yeah, but it's just crazy to think that, you know, it can happen at this level and we're not even assessing it, because that should have obviously been a kill. And you know,
Yeah.
when how many times in these pro level events have you said, oh, you have a parachute glitch, you know, then you get they give you a point, you know, something like that. What
I was gonna
compensation
say,
is there for when
it's
you
not
run over someone?
the. All I'll say on this is that it's not the only esport to struggle with a
Ooh.
well-spinning issues.
S2G.
like
It's a mobile. It's
Yeah.
a mobile game that's doing a
Yeah.
battle royale thing. The fact that it was able to do this in the beginning, when this game came out, it blew
Yeah.
our freaking minds that
Yeah,
they could handle
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
True.
it's true. It's crazy.
How did S2G get those when IHG was the one pushing that? They just cleaned it up?
I know, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll
got
tell
the
you-
last one.
Oh, never mind. I was getting DRS in there mixed up again. I was
They
gonna
already
say
won.
just laying low and letting it happen.
Yeah, I
not
think
doing
this could be
anything,
S2G, right? I mean, just who can challenge them? This is such a strong position for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
the only
play
thing
this
it can
really well.
really mess them up is if that zone goes like hard southeast and it removes it, because then they have to cross the road, right? And then they've got a bit of a problem. But even then, they could stay alive in that compound until the zone does actually close in. And surely a few other teams might start a fight. So, yeah, I just don't
But dude,
see it.
If you're A7 right now, you
Yeah.
have to push S2G.
You have
You've
to
already
do it.
secured your spot in, you know, that second or third spot. Overall,
Yeah.
second, I would think, based on placement, as long as they get maybe alive for 2 more minutes. But then their only shot at that point is to get S2G out before they can secure that placement, because they've already
Yeah.
got 7 eliminations.
But keep in mind that 7's not counted onto the points they've got
Yeah, I was
right
gonna
now
ask, is that
already.
counted
So
yet,
yeah,
or-
no, it's not. So it's not
Oh,
counted.
it's
That's
not.
the
Yeah.
in 2nd then, right?
Yeah, it's it will update it on the board. So if a team moves ahead of another based on eliminations in the game, they will physically on the board move up, but it doesn't get counted
The
onto the
numbers
actual
don't
number of
move.
points.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Ooh,
This
nice.
is
we go,
this is the
A7.
time. This
Yeah.
is the time.
I think Alpha 7's approach at this point in time should just be to try and clean it up, right? Not get overly aggressive, because they can't afford to slip up. If they slip up, that's an opportunity for STE to catch up.
Yeah, I think this is a fight per second, right? I mean, for sure, STE are definitely putting in the work.
I feel
They're
bad
in
for
the placement
DRS.
points territory now.
Yeah, but I think what a storyline for STE, honestly, to like, as you said, DK come up
Yeah.
from such a low position today, alongside like Vampires too, to be able to get such a good result. I mean, Vampires as well are still in this game, and they could also still have a good potential like game here. So there's still a world.
Yeah, but they've
where
got no shot of
definitely-
climbing up any boards, which in my
No.
argument is going to make them the most
Yeah.
dangerous. You know, they have no
Yeah.
shot of advancing, literally nothing to lose. That's the
exactly,
team I
yeah.
would worry about the most.
Yeah, there's still a lot that could change, I think, in terms of the upper half of this bracket, in terms of who actually stays inside that top 8.
And
Love
also,
what
it's the only
STG's
team
doing.
here that could really turn you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Love what S2G's doing here, though.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 on the rooftop, and it looked for a second like 2 were going to go scouting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Tarzan,
SCG
you're
will
right.
just play safe,
10
right?
kills.
Yeah, they've got 10 eliminations. I think they'll just play safe. A7.
Oh
Get him.
no!
Vampires.
Good night.
Yeah, I think that's it.
STE.
Yeah, but STE though, what a chance for
Yeah.
them. Like DRS
Yeah.
and A7 both out now. I mean, surely it's got to be an STE second place if they can keep
Yeah.
themselves.
It's an
I mean,
A7
they don't have-
fourth.
as long as they don't fight, then
Yeah.
they've got it.
I mean, they've got the eliminations for sure. They're at 152
52?
right now. Yeah, so they're 1 point, but still placement points to be counted too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of placement points right now, still with only 7 teams. So they're going to need just a couple more places to really rack that up.
them.
But yeah.
They definitely tried hard today, and it
Oh, yeah,
showed
for
in
sure.
STE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember,
I
remember
mean-
that time when I said STE is gonna do an Inco thing?
Yeah.
that's true.
You did.
Mr.
Yeah.
Oklahoma. And Eureka Port. Appreciate you the follow.
I'm impressed with S2G today too. Their ability to just maintain, their
Yeah.
top spot.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of teams, that's a challenge, right? The maintaining
Yeah.
of that top spot because a lot of eyes are on you. A lot of teams are maybe
Yeah.
pushing you when normally they might not push you, but just because you are in first place, they try to take you out type of deal. So for them to be able to come into today and really just continue to show up.
Yeah.
And now in the last game, already 10 elims, great position right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're going out
Yeah.
swinging. Like
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? We're the lead, and we're not gonna let anybody take it from us.
They've got to
Right now-
survive.
Yeah, they're earning that pole position as best they
Yeah.
can.
They're in
Well,
third
right
right
now
now. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh.
You're there in
ST
third?
So
Oh, okay.
ST,
Almost.
ST
One more.
in terms of their position are in third. They're not quite at second. Still not quite. They need to get the placement
K2K.
points. They
Yep,
could
they
be
just need to lay
maybe.
low. They
Yeah.
They're outside of zone, but I bet you they're going to rotate late or at least do a 2-2.
Yeah. I think they need one more team to fall out for second.
But if you're S2G right now, it's got to literally be the best you'll ever play is right now, I would think. When you've already got the dub in the bag, you do. I mean, you're feeling like all the endorphins going. I mean, now it'd be just like ended on a high note.
I
on
mean,
top
this
of
is just such a this position. It was, I think, for Angry Men. As soon as they fell out of this position and the zone went like this for them, it's just such a
Game
good
over.
game for S2G. Yeah.
I'm gonna predict.
Haven't heard much from Nova though.
I was gonna say,
No,
I'm predicting a Nova win here. Actually,
Oh.
it would be my prediction. For some reason, they seem
How
to be.
fitting would that be? Like,
It would honestly be more frustrating for them than good. I
no,
feel like.
but
Just
for Nova
too
to
little, too late.
win the final game, but to hand over the crown to a different
Yeah.
champion. Yeah.
Yeah, like that'll
Oh,
make
they've
fans,
decided
like,
for
a
it.
bitter taste. I feel like.
Yeah, bittersweet, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Oh, STE trying to
Making
stay
sure.
alive back there.
Oh boy, this
Oh.
is interesting to see here.
Nice push. Yeah.
This is
Looking
what I'm
for
saying.
some more
This should be the best, right? We see him right here.
I see
Yeah,
you're
I
just
see.
like
He's
waiting to
hesitant.
be
Why?
murdered pretty much.
They're going for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a confidence.
That's a lucky nade, but that's
ST.
IHC
Over
really.
two.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Still a huge.
Vampire's still in
Such
here.
A huge. Not anymore, are they?
Got him.
Mm.
Got
No,
him.
vampires
15
are right,
elims.
yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, here goes Nova though.
Jeez.
Trying to clean
Oh,
up.
Nova.
Third party going for that win here. This is the game-winning
Oh
play. Honestly.
no, internet, don't be mean. No.
Uh-oh.
Monster
Order with
nade.
the grenade.
Yeah.
Order
Internet.
pretty much in the front line by themselves here. Oh, but from
Oh.
behind. Not expecting that.
Oh.
Ooh.
The YOLO send from Order.
Yeah.
Hamzi,
No real support
Hamzi should
right
be.
there.
Yeah, Hamzi's the only one with health. Why was he?
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Wolves as well.
Oh, STE got taken out somehow in the process, so I don't know if they're gonna get that second place. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah,
double
yeah.
whammy.
Yeah,
Nice.
The two birds, one stone, Molly, right there. This is
Over.
huge.
I think for Pride, at least Nova really want this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll help them with money, and not that they
Yeah.
need it, but
yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Wolves as well.
Vampires
chicken
as
dinner.
well. Where have they
Vampires are
been?
coming in. They're done with run.
Oh, oh, this
Yeah.
is good.
Man,
Look at STG, just been completely forgotten.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Well,
we see
kind
them,
of.
though. We see them.
No, no, no.
No. Look the
Oh
other
my
way.
gosh, it
Look at
loaded on
vampires.
my screen too.
Is he
Oh,
done?
play zone. Play zone.
Yo, Nova looking for
GG's.
the chicken.
Yeah.
Let's see
Come
how
on,
Vampire
come
might
on.
upset. Vampire might upset. They got the grenade. Whoa.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Wait.
Wait, what?
What?
The final play of the event.
What actually just happened?
We don't
They
know.
literally just cut away from the final play.
Yeah.
No, okay,
Oh,
we're
here
back,
we
we're back.
go.
They were just showing the
Yeah.
celebration.
Oh, that was S2G. Okay, because
Oh,
they
it
won.
was S2G
Yeah, yeah.
celebrating.
Oh, good lads. I know.
Yeah,
How
I
dare they?
All right, S2G. Okay, because they got first, you know, so
Yeah.
we gave it to them.
Should have been split screen. Yes, Tarzan.
Yes,
Exactly.
split screen it.
Okay,
yeah.
order.
Screen it.
Never mind.
Nice.
Music guys like this is my moment.
Paraboy and Jimmy of
Music.
all the most two of the most famous players in PUBG Mobile
Yeah.
at the end game. Up against the team who was last place. And
Yeah,
I mean,
vampires,
like this is like if you want the crown, come get it.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it's not
Oh.
the same team, but still.
They're getting it.
Oh, we're getting it.
Airborne.
Oh, but in Molly, he has to
Nice.
move around to got it. Yeah.
Vampire.
Oh,
they won
it's
half of the
vampire.
matches today.
Yeah.
Half
Wow.
Damn,
They
vampire,
did.
yeah. True.
They won
SCG.
more matches than anyone else, I think,
Yeah. In a single
Yeah.
day.
in a single
In a
day.
single day.
They're the only team to hit 3, right?
Triple
Yeah.
chicken dinner.
Wow.
My
400K
goodness.
right here. First
I mean,
place.
that was-
Yeah.
That was a
But, like-
spectacular performance coming through from Vampire.
Yeah, that was so good.
It's like, hold on.
Oh,
wait.
they win. Yeah, I know, right?
Coach is like,
Tarzan.
come on, guys, let's go. Let's go.
I'm feeling like 400K, guys.
There's Alpha 7 shaking some hands. That's good
Yeah.
sportsmanlike right there.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, well played, honestly, to SCG in that
Well
last
played,
game.
yeah.
They completely closed the door on every other team, and I think S2G deserve it, right? 4th place last year, start and end the first day, 12th position, and now to come up with a trophy.
GG. And I mean, I said so. This is gonna be so interesting because the next PMGC is gonna be in Turkey, and Turkey
Yeah.
wins.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
The home team defending the
Yeah.
That's
trophy.
cool. Yeah.
That's mad. That's mad.
I know. West bringing it home. Heck
I'm just
yeah.
curious of if they actually went with quality on that trophy, if it's real. And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is
right?
just because, you know,
Surely.
it's been a pandemic. So many people would probably not. I mean, no one's gonna be there to be able to tell. It's 1 out of
Nah,
4.
surely they've gone for the quality.
Yeah, those trophies are happy.
Come on.
Yeah. If they start falling backwards when they lift it, like.
But look at the size of that trophy, though.
You
If
know,
it's
yeah.
real, then
That's
that's
huge.
That's very
How much-
heavy.
It's gonna cost him a fortune to take that on the plane.
Yeah, it might not be. It might not be
Carry
fully.
on.
Yeah, it might be a little bit hollow inside though, in terms of. if it's
Ah,
long
yeah,
way. Yeah.
I'm gonna switch
I
to
mean, or
standard feed to hear what
they
they're
just
saying
give them
about
a
it.
small one. They just
Sounds
give them
good.
a small one to take home.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching
Oh,
the
okay.
viewer parties
Yeah.
across all the streams, live,
Yeah.
on the VODs,
Yeah.
wherever. You know, we're big chilling here.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, Dave, thank you
Hey,
for
thanks.
putting this on, man, and letting us be a
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you
For
all
real,
joined,
thanks so much.
Thank
No,
you.
yeah. Yeah. Also, thanks.
Super mega ultra popcorn.
It's a
And
6-man
not
watch
one
party.
bite of popcorn. Not
I
one of us
know.
ate a single bite of popcorn.
Not.
Ah,
Yeah.
Hey, don't expose us, man. We're almost done. We almost got through
know.
this,
I
man.
can't believe
Yeah.
This
I-
popcorn thing.
I got a food shop today and I didn't even buy popcorn.
I mean,
Wow.
I mean, the closest we got to popcorn today was my corny joke. So I mean, it must count for
Mhm.
something.
oh yeah.
Dude,
They really
nonstop.
popped.
Give it to DK.
Do you guys realize when that DK just broke the meta? A dad
Yeah.
joke about a dad joke. That fourth
I
wall
know.
was down.
Oh my days. That's in Dadception.
That's on another level.
Unprecedented.
Yeah.
So we roll.
Oh,
So we
man.
roll.
Man, what does this feeling feel like right now?
You
I
can't
know.
describe this. There's no words to describe a feeling like this. It's
Yeah,
you have
like-
to be there to even just feel a glimmer of what it is. I mean, Dave, you
Yeah.
can probably attest to how awesome this should be. To see a
Yeah.
team
The only thing they're
celebrating.
missing, in my opinion, is some lasers, a fire machine, and confetti. Yeah, besides
Yes.
that,
Missing the horn
Yeah.
guy.
Let
Yeah.
the horn guy free right now. You know, let him free.
Because someone,
Yeah.
someone could be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, but the
DRS.
amount of money that they want is not enough to, you know, like change their lives altogether. But guess what, dude? Look at
that.
how old they
No.
are. For their age, that amount of money is gonna change your life.
How
Yeah.
did- hold on,
It's
where's
a tiebreaker.
STE? Oh,
Yeah,
Tiebreaker
what?
for
ST's
first.
fourth.
STE
DRS
up
kept
fourth?
second.
Oh,
and
but
the
it's a chicken
chickens.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
Oh
40k.
my God.
That's a
Oh,
40k
thank
difference.
God, like,
One
ah.
chicken, 40k
Yeah.
worth of 40k.
$40,000.
Look at this, guys. Alpha
chicken.
and God, like 79 rank points, 77 elimination points, dead
The
even.
The
exact
same. It's a
same.
chicken dinner that does it. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Someone's gonna break
Nova
their hand
Knight.
punching something.
Yeah.
Oh,
At
and
least they went up a little
Fireflux.
bit.
They weren't dead last.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah. 1
Okay.
point. Yeah.
All right.
Way to
1
shoot for the
point, oh
stars
God.
there, Neptura.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dead last.
Can I
How'd
just
you
say
do?
though,
Not dead last.
vampires,
That's all you need to know.
sixth
Yes.
position by the way, from 16th.
Yes.
That's a good-
What a
good day's
meteoric
work.
rise
Fantastic.
in one
Yeah.
day.
But here, I'll take it a step further though. If they had done even remotely decent in this event before
Yeah.
this, today could have been just the biggest upset.
Yeah.
Probably in PUBG Mobile esports history, if they
Yeah.
if they had just done reasonably well before this, those
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
wins would have been enough. I bet.
Yeah. Honestly true. I think if we had seen even half of what we showed in the first or second day, because yeah, if I'm correct on 43 points in 2 days, to then go and get basically a 70-80 point day in the final day of games, man. Yeah,
I mean,
that could have
so-
been so much different.
Red Dot just said it. They had 37 points in the beginning of the day.
37, even less than 43.
Wow.
Yeah.
37. I mean, that is
What the
absolutely.
heck?
Yeah, dude. It's like.
Crazy.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean,
Vampire might have
bad
won.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah, vampire with a true witness.
Over 100 points today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over 100
that's
points
A
today.
crazy day. Yeah.
Real talk. Thanks everybody for honestly coming together. We kind of just all DM'd each other like, hey, you want to watch this? You watching this? Like, yeah, I'll watch this. Like, hey, you want to do stream and watch it too? Like, yeah. It's like, what should we
Yeah.
do? Oh, eat popcorn
Yeah.
while we watch it. So, big shout out to everybody who just tuned in. But the panel, you know, we all love the game, so it's kind of cool to just
Yeah.
hang out with people that you have something in common.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on and
Absolute
everybody
blast.
for.
That was brilliant. What a
Yeah, make
brilliant
sure you
time.
follow everybody. Like if this is your first time seeing somebody, because like you know,
And
you
all the-
look at DKC or Wolf or Neptura or Red Eyes or myself, you know, just show some love. We're all out here grinding, trying to be part of the scene. So,
Yeah, we got all the tags on screen as well, so it
all
helps.
the tags.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna end the stream though for myself. You guys feel free to keep going. There's a breakfast burrito place that closes at 10:30 my time, and every single morning
Breakfast
I've been ending
burrito.
stream at like 11. I'm like, damn it, you know, I wake up this early. So at least let me get the breakfast burrito. So I got
Fair,
10 minutes to
fair.
try to claim the breakfast burrito. So like
Go!
S2G, they got their trophy. This breakfast burrito
Heck
is
yeah.
my trophy for the
Yeah,
weekend.
get it.
So, DM me though. Feel free. You know, I'm up anytime. So thanks all for you. So.
Thank
Nice,
you,
my
Dave.
guy.
It's been
Welcome.
fun.
The pleasure's ours.
Have a good run.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh.
as Dave
Crying.
Oh
said,
no!
I mean, and it's
Oh.
it's
No, I feel
intense,
so
right?
bad.
Once reality sets in as to what you've just accomplished,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
It's
feel bad for him.
insane.
I thought that was A7.
No,
I
no,
thought
You
you
know,
no.
he's
Go ahead, like,
cracked
just
as a
don't-
400
don't-
I
Yeah.
got 400,000 problems now.
Yeah.
The emotions, though, yeah, must be nuts.
Yeah,
Must be nuts.
Yeah.
must be.
Yeah.
no, it's yeah, I think it's honestly indescribable, indescribable feeling when you achieve something like that, like
Yeah.
this, that you've been working 2 years to accomplish, at least, right? A minimum of 2 years. You were here in the previous one, made it all the way up into fourth, come back the next year, grind your butt off, get yourself all the way up into first place, and close off the last match with a
Yeah.
monstrous performance.
Well, take it a step further, like this is such a competitive industry, and where it's like becoming a rock star. The odds of
Yeah.
you making rock star. So the fact that they were placing last year, it doesn't like. I mean, they didn't get a taste of the real life here. So you know, their parents are probably not gonna be like, oh yeah, you can really do this for a living. We're gonna be supportive of you pursuing this dream. Now, what they did is, I mean, this is a legitimate possibility for their life. At least
Yeah.
for the next
Yeah.
couple years. So that's huge.
Yeah. I think this has been so beautiful actually to watch S2G, and I think I'm so proud of them in like watching them as a team all that time ago in the PMPL Arabia, right? I think Tarzan, you'll be able to say the same. From you remember when we first casted S2G all that time ago, and we were talking about them, and now to see them as a world champion.
I was there with you, remember?
Ah, yeah, you were, yeah. Were they still there? No, they didn't change until recently. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was back in 2021 when we were doing the PMPL Arabia.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that is so long ago. Don't make me feel too old there. Yeah.
No, but it's
Man,
amazing if you follow the stories of these
here
teams.
next year.
Yeah.
I want
Well,
us to
what?
be us on
Yes.
panel
Playing.
next year.
Oh,
Let's do it.
I thought you said us playing as a squad there, and I'm like, my guy, it's too late.
Yeah.
We should have
No,
started
like,
already.
without
man.
any exaggeration, if you were to look in the community for, like, at least for the NA region and maybe, we're probably 4 of the top 8 most likely people to be the next in line for that. Like, it's just at the cusp. I mean, and I'm not saying that tooting any of our horns. I mean, literally, I feel like you guys, I mean, DK has the top tier casting. I mean, he essentially, yeah, if you win at any point now, it wouldn't surprise anyone. And I mean, it's my first time working with Neptura or Wolf, but y'all are, I mean, your analysis is ridiculous, Nep. And Wolf, you've got a lot of great points, and you're passionate about it. I mean, I think, like, to say, I hope this is us there on this, you know, doing this next year. Like, I don't think it's that far-fetched.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
to,
I really
to
don't.
do that.
Yeah,
It would
I
be
just
great,
wanna,
but I mean,
yeah.
we gotta see how it goes. And
I
that's
don't
what
care what
you
I
learn
think.
if you're in this industry long enough. It's like, you know, all you can do is give it your best shot and see how far it gets you. Because
For me, I
you know,
don't mind like going on such a stage, like a world stage. I just would love to get onto like an actual stage of any sort of event.
Yes.
Any
Maybe
LANs,
I'm just
Yeah.
geeking out because I'm like I do study like broadcast production and I want to actually go onto a studio set. I think also because of COVID, right? Like it's just been
Yeah.
so long. I want to get out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The closest
totally
thing I
feel
ever
that.
did, I did one
Yeah.
with Toto's Gamers, where everyone was in the actual production studio except for me. Everybody
No.
but me. It was,
No.
I mean, no one else would have had to fly out there but me, so it just wasn't really viable. But
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. That sucks. though. It's such a shame.
yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, it'd be amazing opportunity to be, you know, present there. Yeah, it's completely different to you know doing it remote because you get a much better sense of the excitement and the vibe and the energy and the whole
you're not
you know,
going on a plane, going through the jet lag, traveling and seeing a whole nother culture.
but it makes it
and
worth
country.
it at the end of the day, right?
No,
I mean,
I'm saying that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole experience sounds amazing.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
The jet lag. I want the jet lag. I want it all. Like,
Yeah.
I want it so bad.
well,
I think
yeah.
all of us do. We wouldn't want it we wouldn't be doing this, for free at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning and stuff like that if we weren't passionate about it. So
Right. That's the bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I think on that bombshell, I'm gonna end it on my end as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let this section play out, you know, this last little bit. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say this whole 2022 season was absolutely exciting. Looking at the growth and the performances that we've seen from all the different regions that we've had the privilege of watching and actually being part to a certain extent of the journey, and I'm super excited to see what 2023 will have in store. I'm curious to see who's going to be those next up and coming monsters. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
For real.
Yeah, who's gonna kind of start to challenge, right, S2G? And I think what's really interesting is what we talked about, these improved regions and so much fire coming out of these regions. How is it gonna look potentially? Yeah, in a whole new season when people have that kind of renewed sense of wanting to push for it, to get all the way.
Yeah. But again, big thanks to all 6 or all 5 the other panelists that we had here. So it's Red Eyes, Neptura, Highland, of course Dave. I can't say the first part of his name, so that's why it's just Dave. And then our plus one that we had, Professor Tarzan. I know why his reception is a bit shoddy because he's swinging through the trees and he's, you know, that's it.
He just learned to speak the human language a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
we got to give him a break.
Yep.
No, but awesome guys.
Talking about though.
You guys are legends. I always enjoy and appreciate working with all of you.
Same to you, brother. Same to you.
Thank
It's
you.
always a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. It's always fun. I was learning
Yeah,
so much.
I mean, you gotta drop the dad jokes in somewhere.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely.
So for the people watching, I'ma just let this section of the whole thing play out. But yeah, from my side, yeah, I think us as casters or the panel, we're gonna peace out.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next one.
All right,
Bye-bye.
guys. Have a great one.
Bye.
Yuk, yuk,
Yes,
yuk.
jadi teman-teman sekalian ini adalah penghujung
Kita bakar.
dari acara 2022 PMGC Grand Finals ini. Sekali lagi selamat untuk para pemenang. Mereka sangatlah luar biasa. Seluruh partisipan ke-16 tim adalah 16 tim terbaik di dunia. Dan kalian adalah penonton terbaik di dunia juga. Indonesia, Jakarta, terima kasih banyak atas energi kalian yang luar biasa. Dan tentunya ini adalah momen-momen yang memang kita nantikan sejak lama sekali. Jadi sekali lagi, terima kasih banyak.
Thank you once again to everyone who helped make this amazing competition happen. It truly has been staggering and I've enjoyed every single moment of it. And especially thank you to those of you watching at home.
Yes, terima kasih banyak kepada kalian semuanya sekali lagi. Dan pastinya kita akan tunggu momen-momen spesial apalagi yang akan ada di tahun depan.
Join us next time where we will be coming to you live from Turkey, where we will once again be trying to prove to you who will be the one.
Karena next stop kalian harus gabung lagi bersama kita semuanya di Turki untuk melihat who will be the one.
And everyone in Jakarta, please put your hands together one more time for your 2022 PMGC Champions S2G.
Tepuk tangan sekali lagi yang meriah untuk kita semuanya. Seluruh tim di sini yang sudah luar biasa berjuang, terima kasih banyak sekali lagi. Dan pastinya akhir kata saya Dona Fiska mengucapkan terima kasih banyak. Mohon maaf apabila ada kesalahan kata atau perbuatan. Dan pastinya saya Dona Fiska mewakili seluruh talent dan juga kru yang bertugas di balik layar pamit undur diri dulu. Sampai jumpa teman-teman sekalian. Oh ya, ada satu informasi lagi yang nantinya akan saya share di sini secara live. Tetapi untuk mengakhiri semuanya sekali lagi terima kasih banyak. Selamat malam, selamat beristirahat dan sampai jumpa lagi next time. Bye bye.
And for one final time, please, S2G, come into the middle and celebrate in the middle of the stage. And we have been your hosts. And for one final time, my name is Banks. This is Donna Visca. Good night.
Good night.
And by the way, if you guys are still watching, you guys are absolute goats. You're absolute legends. Thank you so much for joining us over the past 2 days for the watch parties. Always appreciate you guys, and we look forward to seeing you back again soon. If you want to watch some bot gameplay, I'll be streaming later in the week. So, yeah, but until then, guys, keep it fresh, keep it frosty, and have a good one.